Oppo Reno 5, cool down to win.
Oppo Reno 5, Pubg Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
Oppo Reno 5, hold it to win.
Oppo Reno 5, Pubg Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to the PUBG Mobile Club Open 2021 full split for the Africa region. My name is James Banks, and I am one of your commentators to take you through today. And the man alongside me, getting to enjoy all the action, watching all the madness unfold, is DK. We're getting the cast together for the first time. We're ready and waiting for this one. And, well, we know that there's been quite a lot of changes when it comes to this region, mate.
Yeah, man, it's an honor to be here, and I gotta say, there's quite a few changes that we see actually coming in across the board. You know, we were looking into the teams that are going to be participating in this season of the PMCO Africa, and yeah, quite a few change up. We've got a few returning teams, and then also have quite a few new additions coming into the season.
Oh, yes, and it shows the strength of the region for sure. Now, for all of you guys at home, I'm just going to remind you that we are born to win as always, because this is the PMCO Africa Full Split, brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much-loved Reno 5 series, because that's what it's all about. Now, we've got to start telling you about the event itself and everything that's going to be planned out throughout this. And, well, as always, we get our 4 games each day throughout it. So we got the groups and all that side of things. But DK, when it comes to it, right, when it comes to everything we're seeing here from these teams, what I want to see mostly is just amazing PUBG Mobile action as always.
Yeah, and of course, leading up to this event, you know, a lot of the teams have been going out doing some hard grinding in preparation to come in here and, you know, just make the whole region proud. So I'm expecting some really strong PUBG to come out of the games, especially starting it off with today with our first initial match.
Oh, yes, that's what it's all about. I'm going to get our producer to just run the next graphics, because I'm trying to hear him a little bit there, but he's just a tad quiet for me. But there we go. It's a point distribution is where we're starting with this one. 1 kill, 1 point, as always. This is a point system that everyone's going to be very familiar with. And, well, we see this throughout all the games, don't we, DK? That although you could be a team that maybe have to rack up a bunch of kills in there, if you don't find a balance between your points that you can grab through placements and the kills, you're very unlikely to make it through.
Yeah, and I mean, this is quite important to see the teams perform strong, end up in those decent points. And, you know, as we've been seeing for quite some time now, we've got that 1 kill, 1 point. And that is so essential for teams to try and improve their standings on those leaderboards. And, I mean, we've seen quite a few teams be quite aggressive, step it up, just get down to business, get those kills on board. And accompanied with the kill points here and the point distribution, it makes for some really entertaining gameplay.
Now let's take a look at the prize pool and what these guys are going for. And, well, it is a very healthy $30,000 prize pool for these guys. And on top of that, right, we have to mention for the first place team, DK, they get a slot at the EMEA Championship Season 2. And we know, right, the Africa region, it's got all these teams. It's got some dominant teams that can come out. This is vital in terms of leveling up the region, right? People getting to experience the fights against some of the teams around the world.
Yeah, it makes for some really healthy competition, and having a nice prize pool like this is actually an increase from what we had in the first season. I mean, for the first season, first place walked away with $3,500, or was it $3,600? This time around, it has been increased all the way up onto 4,000. So really making it worthwhile for the teams to participate, regardless of where they place. They get a decent amount in the bank, and we can see it trickling down from that first position all the way down into 16th, and then of course 17th to 32. The teams get awarded $500 a pop. So either way, regardless of their performances in the duration here of PMCO Africa, they still get a little bit of something as a reward for that. And we're also going to be moving on to the next graphic. And man, I got to say, this is going to be quite an interesting day. Starting it off with the Erangel, seeing what the teams are going to be bringing in. And the teams we're going to be looking at will, of course, be the teams from Group A and Group B.
Yes, it's Group A and Group B all the way for today. They get to kick things off with here. And like you mentioned, starting with Erangel, moving on to Sanhok, Miramar after that, and then one final time, Erangel to round out the day. And one thing I know, DK, is I love ending on Erangel because it's like, you know, the home map for everyone. Everyone knows what they're doing. You kind of see some teams that maybe are not so healthily confident and comfortable with Sanhok or Miramar. But when it comes to Erangel, we know what we're going to get, right?
Yeah, I mean, Erangel is the bread and butter. Oh, no, let's try that one again. The bread and butter. Woo! Tongue twisters coming through here. It's the bread and butter of PUBG Mobile, but it's a good addition to have Sanhok and Miramar in there. I mean, it's a good build-up. The teams have that first map to kind of try and assess themselves, see how they measure up against the competition, move into Sanhok, move into Miramar, get a little bit of close quarter combat, a little bit more of that range assault, and then they can put that all back together once again as they move into that final Erangel match.
Oh, yes, that's what it's all about. And the thing is here, right, you can look at maybe the first couple of days for the teams in here and you start to get a feel of what's going on. But it's not until we start to see all of the lobbies have played each other. Like you mentioned, we start today with A and B, tomorrow C and D. But then after that, we start to mix it up. Then we get a real feel for how much these teams and players know each other. Maybe we'll get some of the hot dropping in there. Maybe we see some respectful handshakes on, okay, look, we'll allow you to have your space. I always love that as well. It's always something that comes to my mind. It's like, okay, so if you know a team drops in your spot and you also want to drop in that spot when it comes to it, how do you try and do that? I like to go the more aggressive route, you know, like I'm going to bully you out of my spot and I want to hold on to it. But we know sometimes some teams can't get away with that and it may be like, this might cost us too much and we need to play a little bit smarter and safe. How would you play it, DK?
I got to go with you on the aggression. I mean, that for me is that's just how it is. You know, if you want the place, go and get it. Go out there, make it yours. Chase out who you need to chase out, even if you got to send them all the way back into the lobby. Get the job done. Take the compound, you know, and sit quite comfortably.
Oh, yes, that's what I'm all for seeing. But I know some of these teams, they'll look at it and they'll be like, okay, you know what, I'll just wait a bit in here. But we've given you the intro. We've shown you how things are going to be going down. We're going to give you a quick break now. And then when we come back, we'll be getting ready for our first Erangel game. So make sure you go and grab a quick snack or drink, whatever else you need. And then you get yourself seated and ready for our opening games.
Oppo Rena 5. Cool down to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
Oppo Rena 5. Hold it to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
Welcome back, everybody. We are one step closer to getting into our first match, starting with Erangel here. Now, we covered the prize pool, we covered the points, we covered what's going to be happening over the next few days and how these groups are going to be facing off against each other. But DK, there's one thing I want to look at, right? We just had that Oppo advert come in there. I want that dude at the first part. I want his shirt. I think that shirt would work well for me. I need to find out how they got that. You know, I like to go a little bit funky with it. Max likes to bully me for it from time to time. You go a bit more like Max on the nice, the sensible t-shirts and shirts. I like the craziness.
But I gotta say though, I mean, we've been watching these promo videos for the longest time, and these ones that we've got now, it is some of the most entertaining videos I've seen. It is so well put together, I gotta say. So, I mean, whoever came up with that idea, big ups, much respect for that. That is absolutely brilliant to watch. But yeah, man, I gotta say, as we get closer to this match, I'm expecting quite a bit of chaos to come in with today's games. You know, we've already got a little bit of a lineup coming through with the players there from Group A as well as Group B. And I mean, just to look at the teams we're going to be having participating in this first day, it's going to be Influence Rage, the likes of Honored Souls. We got Nazexix coming in here as well. Zero Tolerance Skills, Rilla Insider, Ultima, MZR Esports Africa, as well as 21st Century for Group A.
Oh, yes. A good amount of teams here and some new names we haven't seen before, right? We mentioned it already. I think you said it was, 11 teams from the first season that have only made it through, which shows how competitive this region has become. We look at Group B, you've got Blackjack Esports, Gamers Unite Nations, a standout name in there as well. And I would say, right, when it comes to this, the biggest surprise for me is when we don't see Slime 4KT qualify, mate, because, they were the ones that won it last time in style.
Yeah, it was quite the phenomenal finish they had to the previous season. Now, Banks, it is time for Erangel. Match 1, here we go.
Match 1 is coming up, and you guys can all be born to win, because welcome to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much-loved Reno 5 series, because that is how you dominate the competition, which is what our teams will be looking to do right now. Here is the opening game, the all-important one. Now, you can get away with having a bad game, right? You can get away with feeling out your competition, but still, if you can start off with a very strong first game, you might be able to build up such confidence that you can feel like, okay, look, we've put ourselves in such a great spot early on here that we can be kind of a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more understanding going further forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially the point where you want to try and lay that foundation for the coming days. Not only for the rest of today, but also for the coming days. Because the stronger start you can get, the less work is required as you move into those later days, trying to still qualify and move through into the next phase.
Oh, yes, that's what it's all about, right? That's how we want to see it all go down. Because we're going to look to see these teams take their spots and take their locations. And for me, I always look at this of okay, let's try to understand is, maybe are we going to see some of that hot dropping like we spoke about earlier? Are we going to see some teams try and compete against each other? How much space is going to be around some of them going into it as well? And, well, for the first circle, it's going to be up more towards the north, a fair amount of water up in there. But it will mean that any of these teams down the south, obviously looking at EXS right now, down on the military base, it's a little bit further for them to go. But they can get round on one of these later rotations, come on in, and really won't have to worry about anyone being behind them. Just keep their wits about them as they first start to push in.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the teams are going to be going. Obviously, they are no strangers to each other. They've been playing, warming up, getting accustomed to each other over quite a few of the community matches and, the preparation coming in to PMCO Africa itself. And got to say, though, the players there from Unique as well as Gamers Unite Nation dropping straight up in towards a little bit of a hard drop action. in towards Yasnaya. So good to see a slight bit of an aggressive start coming in. But looking over towards Gatka as well, we got a nice congestion of players. So I'm curious to see how those rotations are going to pan out and whether or not we're going to have any major engagements happen in the early game.
Well, here we go. This is a little bit more interesting here. You've got Unique and Gamers Unite Nations close to each other in here, where for these guys right now, they're going to be kind of in this stalemate position where they don't want to overextend. You know, they want the other team to make a mistake before taking these shots, but they also want to be very careful because you know what often happens when you have little lineups like this where teams come together and they're very close. You lose a player early on, and even if you can maybe win out the fight, you might be dwindling on numbers. You may only leave this fight with 1 or 2 people alive. So at some point, they may just look at this and say, okay, hey, is there a way we can disengage out of it? It depends how aggressive they want to be and how they want to play it out. But for now, at least there's enough room between them where they're not directly super close to each other.
Yeah, and Gun is one of those teams that really performed exceptionally strong in the group stages last season. They did end up taking that ball slot, finishing off quite strongly there on 185 points after their 3 days of gameplay. So definitely a team to be looking out for, looking to see what they're going to be bringing to the table for this season. And, you know, having a little bit of company come in from the side there of Unique. Now, Team Unique also a very interesting team to watch. They also show quite a bit of potential coming in. So I'm curious to see just who's going to look to challenge who. Will we have our teams from the previous season looking to once again retain those slots? Or will we have the challenging teams step up looking to push them out?
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Seeing if some of these new teams that came through can upset the balance, so to speak. Because just because we saw a team last season doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be able to have all the success they would want. The fact that we don't have as many teams returning from the last season kind of proves the fact that there is so much talent within this region, right? And you know that firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, just some of the names that we see on our long list of teams participating, the 32 teams. I mean, there's some very well-known names there, teams that I'm very familiar with. Been seeing them through quite a few events, but especially I think for today, teams to be looking at could be teams like the side of Blackjack, could be Gun to watch, Influence Rage, as well as potentially even Honored Souls. I mean, I've seen some pretty strong plays come in from them. But another team I'm quite curious about, though, is the Gorilla Insider team. It's the former Gorilla Glue team. They, of course, got picked up by Insider, hence the name change. And
Nice.
I'm curious to see what they're going to bring to the table. So there's a few strong teams in this lobby. I got to say I like it. And I'm expecting it to be a pretty tough start to the day.
And surprisingly enough, right, considering how things started, some teams being a little bit closer to each other, we still got everyone alive, full stacked up lobbies. So this could be a peaceful start as it be until we maybe start the rotations going further forward. They found their feet, they found their footing of how they want to play it out. But I will start to maybe eat my words a bit if someone does want to take some pop shots at teams rotating in front of them, because it's all about getting a bit of that space up towards the north, right? Obviously, the circle could shift down towards the southern side, can actually have the river split in there. But it's how many teams are going to gamble and go further across. Where do they want to position themselves early on? It's all up in the air and all to play for when we look at a circle like this.
Yep, but definitely this is where position is going to be slightly essential. I mean, it's still early games, still early phases, and the players here coming in from 21, they can, you know, just kind of roll up at their own leisure. 21st century, nothing really too major pushing them just yet. They do have a little bit of that rotational path around the Stolber Hill here, so we're looking to see where they're going to try and move in. But another interesting point to see, though, is the team there from Influence Rage, they've positioned themselves up in Severny, really good centralization in the zone, but now all the way down in towards the far south in Nova Crates, the edge of Blue Zone. You got the players here from Excusia.
Yeah, they're sitting down there for now, waiting to see where they may want to go a little bit later on. But like we said, when they first came in, they went for this location. It's like, how quick do they want to rotate around? Do they just hold back and look to see what these other teams are going to do? It's a waiting game of understanding of how they want to try military base, but the blue will be creeping up on them. It's not damage that they need to be worried about, but it's more about how many teams they will end up bypassing, if they will be the final team into the circle at all.
Yeah, and we can see those rotations now starting to make their way in. Everybody pushing for that spot. And I mean, I'm expecting a few interesting plays to come from this, because all the way up in towards the north, there's not really many compounds that really stand out. That's a exceptional compound to be in. It's definitely not the most insane looting spots, but it's going to be quite essential for these teams to try and find a decent point to establish themselves in for that phase, looking to defend as those rotations are going to start finding their way in.
And when we do look at all the rotations that do start to happen, we actually still see one team down there just going past Quarry now. They're in the blue tanking a bit of it, but just starting to make their way through. EXS have decided to get their move on as well. As the beauty of what we've got here is that me and DK have managed to get the map stream up. DK's having a good look at it for us non-stop and sharing it. So we get this extra bit of information to pull through to you guys. We can keep an eye on how it's all panning out. Right now, actually, though, the eastern side of the circle is very heavily contested. So more teams fighting out just towards the southern part of Stauber. They obviously come past Mansion and everything else and working their way in. But again, still we're in a position where we're not seeing shots, we're not seeing knocks or kills come through yet. Everyone's just kind of waiting it out, feeling out before they want to make their attack. Because the other thing they have to be concerned of is if you do start to attack early, maybe you alert others to your position, maybe you find yourself being kind of caught off guard in some ways that a third party might come through very early on.
But the problem with that is the longer they wait, the more pressure there is on them. So the longer they wait to get into the engagements, I mean, the more punishment they're going to be receiving in those later phases. And as you've pointed out, we still have all the players, all the teams, everybody is still in this match. I think this is one of the longest times we've had in a game of silence. No one really putting in any shots just yet. Oh, there we go. The ice has been broken.
Shots fired. No one knocked just yet. Might be just some warning shots coming on there. Now, we did see Cage, right, driving his lovely vehicle at that point. No, is he going to try and get a knockout there to get a distance for him to fire off on? Sorry. At least keeping him at bay, keeping an eye on what's going on around him. I'm going to hope Max is listening to this, because I'm just going to bully him at the fact that I want to see how many of those vehicles we're going to see that he didn't manage to get the skin for, because Max was keen to try and get it. I don't think he did get it in the end. He was very sad about this all the time, so we spent a lot of time during PMPL bullying him about it.
Yeah, it's always exciting to try and pick up all those skins, and I mean we've seen our fair share of some really interesting ones coming in, but also some interesting vehicle maneuvers. Strangely enough, we haven't had any of that, but we are seeing the teams really starting to move into very close proximity. Now, even that western side is also getting pretty congested, so I'm waiting for the scale to tip, for the teams to just start fighting, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a snowball effect as we move into these later few phases.
And the team that we spoke about, right, being on military base out towards Novo was EXS, and for them, they're still in the blue now, just coming through. But the point we did mention that we could be worried about for these guys is where they'll find room in these circles. Well, now already moving into the next phases, it becomes problematic for them because they are going to be very limited. We're already seeing teams clustered together. We've touched on the fact that there's still 16 teams and all the players alive within it, which just means there's less room for you to have. And even if you might think you got some space, you might end up just breaching onto a team without actually realizing it. So they're going to have to make sure they're prepared for anything that could be happening at this stage. But it is a very slow rotation.
Man, it's going to be coming in by the bucket loads. I mean, we see that that bridge just on the outlines, on the outskirts there of Rozhok, also now getting pretty contentious. And I mean, we don't see any teams currently held up in either shooting range or Saverney. So everyone's out in the field, out in the open, holding on to these lone struggler compounds we've got scattered throughout. So I'm curious to see just what's going to start building up, because I mean, it's like they've all chosen spots on the map and everyone's like, cool, all chat, let's all go there and then break out these fights, and it's going to be an absolute bloodbath once these triggers start going.
Yeah, it really is, and that's what it's going to be, a massive pop-off. It's going to be who's going to be smart enough to try and third party from afar and where they're going to find the space and what they want to do. Out towards the western side of shooting range right now is a bit more vacant compared to the rest of it. Saverney going to be heavily contested coming up, same as what you mentioned in Rozhok. But still, we hear these shots. Nothing connecting just yet. Everyone's trying to play the long game. Everyone's trying to play the smart game. But eventually, you're going to run out of room. Eventually, you're going to roll on to some of these other teams. And you will have to start fighting. And actually, if you maybe are one of the teams that decide to start fighting earlier, if you can find a good position for it, it could benefit you in just the kill points, right? Considering how crazy this could get with trying to grab those placement points.
Yeah, then it's all going to come down to position, and we already see those engagements starting to find their way on in. The eastern side definitely starting to light up, the kill feed starting to trickle on through, and now the players here from 21st, they're going to be holding on as well, looking to see if they can establish a little potential point of dominance. We do have the Drogons pushing up from that northern position, and the zone getting ready to pop up once again, heading further over on towards the west, and only 2 players have gone back so far.
Yeah, our circle's got a hell of a lot smaller. It's just over shooting range for now. And this is what's horrible when you look at a circle like this is, okay, it's generally centered up not too badly, but considering how many teams were out towards the eastern side, that rush on in is going to be either one of catastrophe or one of just pure brilliance for some of these teams, because you might let some of the other teams fight and try and get past it and just skip ahead. But then if you stand there and fight too long, you can end up being very damaged when you have to try come back into it later on. So it's going to take some quick thinking from the IGLs and how they want to play it out. They need to make a decision. They'll need to make it fast.
I can tell you, no Banks, I'm so glad I am not participating in this match, because it is going to be absolutely insane. Blackjack, Gun, and Unique all now starting with their rotations up towards the northern edge of zone, all just trying to get themselves established. And I think for this is going to come down to who will be the first team to get themselves set up. Beautiful shot coming in from Sorry over onto Short Boy.
That's what we're talking about. Unique, they were quick on top of that. And they're not finished just yet. Sully finds himself getting knocked down. Headshot's going to be landed. And Unique, they may just have to heal up a little bit now, but they want to go in for this. With Sully being knocked, there's still three players left alive here for Influence Rage Africa. But they know that they can be pushed at any point here. They know that they're going to be on the back foot because of this. And they have also been split apart, which is never ideal.
Yeah, and essentially the teams are going to be challenged to their limits here, as we still have such a large number of players and teams remaining, and any small mistake they make now could be quite costly for them, and that could happen very, very quickly, as we see the teams also just looking to push further and further in. And I mean, this is becoming quite a difficult play, as we can see of Unique holding on to this ridge line, looking to see if they can find that spray over on towards Influence Rage. But Influence now just starting to swing around, taking shots at everything and anything that moves. Meanwhile, Unique trying to get their numbers back up into fighting form.
Yeah, that's it, right? They find themselves getting the early knock on, starting to try pushing it. They were hungry to push him, find those kills. Then it didn't work out for them. Now they've seen Influence Rage Africa be able to back away from them just a little bit. But they found themselves getting a player knocked, which is never ideal. And look, now we find ourselves going back to the same position we were not too long ago. But it's this time Influence Rage Africa that want to be the aggressors. They want to go in for it. They start off with a knock on to Sorry, and that's exactly what they want to see. Vindex not looking to stop now either. They may have some paths for cover, but Vindex, he believes he can try and win this one out. He's taken a fair amount of damage, but still finds himself there to get the damage done. They're all on top of Unique, and they can't hold on to this. Unique, they've been pushed down. They'll be the first team being eliminated here. And Influence Rage Africa pick up 4 swift kills, and they keep their entire squad alive. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal to watch. And that was only the first team to get sent back into the lobby. We're in the 4th phase, heading over towards that 5th phase. And now this is just going to start compounding. The teams need to get these numbers reduced at a really quick pace. Otherwise, that final zone is going to be absolutely insane. Meanwhile, the rotation's still heading up in towards that southern edge. Quite a few teams still on the outlying regions, not moving into secure angle within the zone just yet. But I think the faster they can get themselves set up, the more they'll benefit once that rush starts to come in.
Like we keep mentioning, little space left, plenty of players alive, only one team out of it. And 7-7 Stoney here, he looks out towards that crate. He's just keeping his good eyes peeled to see, well, does anyone want to try poke me on this if I go for it? How much of a risk is this? It could massively benefit him if he is able to loot it up. But there's always a risk versus the reward on things like that. Now, 21st century, we keep coming back to these guys, and they find themselves in good spots. Find themselves able to hold on. It is now the edge of the circle, though. And they're probably just scouting ahead, looking as far as they can with their eyes to see what might be around them and how they want to play this out, as Skaya taking a nice amount of shots onto him here. Also trying to see if he could third party some of them away. They will find themselves another team going down. But I don't believe he picked up any kills off the back of it.
But I gotta say though, I mean, looking at that map, the Drogons actually making a little bit of a brave move. They're moving into center zone. I'm curious to see whether or not they'll be able to hold onto that position. I mean, the players here also from Honored Souls trying to show a little bit of control in the south. It is a little bit of an interesting play they are coming into here, as we can see the players there from EXS position up ahead. Zalgotskaya and the Go now just holding on, and man, I'm hoping to see these fights break out. For the moment, it's just a slow tap, but a nice 2-2 split actually coming in there for EXS, and Influence Rage continuing their efforts now up in towards the north, looking to move in. But right here alongside them, the players from MZR holding tight. Not looking to give up just yet. They are so close to that zone. Just need to push that little bit further to make it all the way in. And I mean, but the western front of this match is really starting to get pretty crazy. Influence also now just fishing for some hits.
They're already up at 6 kills. They're looking to try and dominate early on for the first match, and already up to only 12 teams alive. Influence Rage Africa looking to really show their stuff here. Ansley more separated from the rest of the team, but he's still in a position with smoke down, car for cover. It's not the end of the world for him here. I put 3 kills out of the 6 for his team on his own as well, which proves he's coming in to deal the big damage. But as we keep mentioning, where this has now become very contested, it's going to be fighting non-stop considering how many people are still within this lobby, and it's just action kicking off everywhere.
Yeah, and we see the players here from Blackjack now managing to get the res up, bringing their numbers back onto 4. Gun holding up right there alongside them, and this could be a nice play for them. Gun have a decent position within the zone, but they don't really have much numbers left working out in their favor. They only essentially have Plaza as well as Bounds remaining, so 2 players left for the side of Gun. It's going to be quite a bit of a tall order, quite a bit of fighting that they could potentially be looking to do, but they are quite safe in the trench here. This crash site for the plane has been quite beneficial for several teams in past matches, so I'm curious to see though how they're going to try and utilize this, use it to their advantage, and potentially make quite a bit of a stand from that point. And now, ooh, up comes the rushes. You can see the players there from 21st Century coming straight into zone, moving over on towards the players from Influence Rage. Drogons holding on to center position. MZR still trying to push in. Gun just getting down, trying to stay hidden as long as they can. BJE also still continuing to push up. This is where it's going to get absolutely crazy.
It has been the story of the eastern side of how many teams have been hanging out there. As the new circle popped, we saw that Influence Rage Africa did slightly benefit for them, not too far for them to travel in, and they're looking to do more damage, pick up more kills here, and they still haven't taken a casualty yet. They're able to pick teams off from afar without being too heavily contested, and they're looking to do more and more damage. Ultima's going to be the next team being eliminated and taken out here. Nade's going up, trying to see if we can catch anyone out there in the smoke as well, and do as much damage as possible, while also taking a further few shots. But he is kind of down on his own here, which he does need to be careful of. It's not going to be easy at all for him, because the moment he steps up, he'll be exposed and they'll all be around him. But we are seeing tons of teams start to drop off one by one now, and this is where the carnage begins.
Yeah, and with that now, we've moved into our final 10 teams coming into our 5th phase, about to hit that 6th phase. Aphelion Apex holding on to that southeastern side, looking to set up that anchor point. It is going to be quite the tall order for Stony, as Kage is his only companion, really, as the rest of the team have either been knocked out or been sent back into the lobby. But now up comes the fight between Blackjack and Gun. We can see Pounds and Plaza holding in the trench, hiding in that smoke, but Zane and Vile trying to get those grenades in. They're looking to find that opening, but also they're looking to push in, as it is still a point of contention here. The teams now, I mean, fighting out in the open, just on the edge of this cliff. It's going to be a really trying angle to try and bring in, and of course, those shots are finding their way through. Rilla inside and are also getting eliminated.
9 teams remain, 28 players alive. Influence Rage Africa still patrolling the northeastern side of the circle of how it all goes down. Aphelion Apex, they want to try and push over on this, but they don't want to overextend and leave themselves too far exposed. They know there's some players below them, but if they go for it, this could happen. A sideswipe comes through. Stoney needs to react, but he doesn't have much health either. His teammate's been taken out, and now he's in a very tough situation to fight from. Clutch and Dark Ghost are down below him, but he throws the smoke down because he knows time is not on his side here. He's surrounded. His teammate's gone down. He's the last one alive, and he wants to grab as many of these placement points as possible. Avoiding the nades for now, but it seems like they're going to be firing off some more. It's more of a waiting game. How's this going to pan out for him? Because he's being pressured both sides. Oh, lots of damage coming out towards him. He will be finished off, but it's actually the nade there coming out from Clutch that will take it. This may tell him, though, more players are around. Back 10 comes spraying on through, and he's able to hit some nice shots with it. Got a teammate to back him up, or Souls. Clutch is running away. He wants to back out from this one. Nade's going up out towards him. Won't quite reach him. Plane's going to provide him the cover he needs. But MZR, Esports Africa, they're getting the hell out of there. They're not sticking around at all.
But this is the danger of a highly congested region. Oh, in a safe place. Drogon sneak in a very cheeky kill right there onto MZR. But now, Souls still trying to push in. They are outside of the zone. They need to try and secure themselves. But the Drogons beautifully set up, still holding strong. BJE also now moving in from that southwestern side. We do see the players there from EXS trying to move on in, but here we go. Drogon's 21st Century getting right down to business. Jazza sending the first shot up in towards Ghost. Shaky Boy now trying to see if he can figure out which way to go. But a nice relentless effort, nice push coming in from the side of 21st Century. They're not going to be letting them slide out of this one just yet. See the mollies come in. The smokes have been deployed, but this is where the Drogons are going to be put to the test as 21st Century is looking for that opening. But fortunately for them, there's still so many teams surviving in the vicinity that it could swing either which way. And with that, Honored Souls get eliminated. But here we go. Drogons, 21st Century, about to break it out. Nice spray coming in from Kratos. And with that, the Dragons lose one of their players, but now it is up to Dan and JR to make the stream work for the Dragons.
It's certainly not going to be easy, though, because on one side you've got the Dragons, on the other side you've got Influence Rage Africa. Two heavy-hitting teams, two ready to do some big damage. The Dragons obviously less on numbers in here. That might be helpful. Gun, they've come into the party. They've started to take down some of the INF players and seeing what they can get done here. And Gun, actually, they're going to continue to go forward. They're looking to really change the fate of this for everyone. And this is brilliant because they've only got two players here. They've got a couple of knocks in. Plaza very much out in the open, low on health. Needs to be careful. He gets finished off. And, well, that was good teamwork as we now see Influence Rage Africa up at 10 kills and in the top 4 for the first game. Could they be grabbing the first Erangel game, the first whole game of the split?
Man, they are definitely in the running for that. If they continue with the efforts, they're going to be looking absolutely amazing. But even the side here of EXS sitting strong there on the 8 kills. They still have the numbers. BJE also sitting on 8 kills a pop. So definitely some pretty high kill counts coming in here. So curious to see which of these final 4 teams will be the team to clutch it out. Because, I mean, it is between Influence Rage, Blackjack, as well as the Drogons. And then, of course, the players here from EXS. So some strong hard hitters, as you've mentioned before, making it all the way in, but a really phenomenal performance actually coming in from the Drogons. Oh, the sprays coming in as Zelgot puts that M249 to some really good use. 14 players remain, 4 teams, and it is still going to be a very, very close fight all the way to the finish.
Oh, Zelgot. Throwing out, trying to do some damage, chipping away at him. Can't quite get the knocks. Then the final one comes through. Blackjack Esports, they couldn't avoid them all. And Zelgod, he wants to push on this as much as possible. Got the big M249 in his hand. Makes a lot of noise. It causes a lot of pain. And it becomes very problematic as we're now seeing INF come onto the Drogons. There's only 2 of them alive and they've locked themselves in. They try to fire it out. Dan looking to try and push through the smoke, but he's surrounded. He's overwhelmed. And the Drogon, well, they may be able to try and get a knock. Not even that. They just find themselves going down. And INF, the teamwork right now, the decision-making on this is absolutely brilliant. And if they let the other 2 teams fight off for a bit, they may be able to jump on top of it. They've got a good position in the northern side of the circle. They're looking down on the rest of the teams there. This could be a game that they could lock into, especially as Blackjack Esports and EXS, they just keep fighting back and forth a little bit, having pokes at each other.
Man, this is going to be... this is such a tough-looking zone already. We've got Blackjack sitting on 4 players. We've got the players from Influence on a full squad. And then, of course, EXS, 3 players up. So that means 11 players still trying to get into that winner-winner chicken dinner slot. And now this is where Blackjack is going to try and play it quite carefully, quite cautiously. They don't want to overexpose themselves just yet. And a beautiful spray coming in from Zayn, straight across over onto Zalco. Skya having a nice off angle. There could be a saving grace for the team, but this is now where Influence Rage are looking to strike, looking to capitalize on the engagements happening up ahead. But up comes Reverb, finds a beautiful shot straight on in towards Faiz. Now, who will be the team to bring it in? Oh, EXS reduced down to only one remaining player.
And they're all having players in bad positions here, right? Like Inspector now trying to get back up to Hansley. Exusia, they now finally are going to be eliminated. Blackjack Esports still with 4 up. This would be their time to strike, but I'm not sure they're fully aware of it. It's a risk, but it could be one that would pay off massively. They're also going to be able to get some extra loot in play here. They can get Inspector up. INF can have a good fight on their hands, but with Sully going down as well, another knock going through. Blackjack Esports are looking to try and steal this one away. Vindex spraying on through, but he gives his position away, and they're putting the hurt onto INF right now. Blackjack Esports looking to take the win. They grab the chicken dinner. Plenty of kills alongside it. An absolutely solid performance from them. And this game really looked like it was in the hands of INF from start to finish. But Blackjack, they held strong at the end, fought from the lower ground, pushed on up. And look at Reverb. 8 kills for him, DK. That's huge.
I mean, that was just an absolutely insane match. But you got to say, though, I mean, the top 3, they were just swinging it all the way through with the kills. I mean, EXS, they finished off strong on 8 kills. We saw the players there from Influence Rage also bringing in a very strong 13-kill game. And then Blackjack just closing it up. Winner, chicken dinner. But alongside that, they also brought in 15 kills. So some very impressive numbers. And what a way to start off PMCO Africa.
What a way indeed. And this is only the beginning of 3 more matches that we have going further forward with this. But what a start for these guys. A lot of smart play coming out there, right? Was very cautious for sure. A lot of the slower rotations coming in. No one was really engaging very early on. And then it just got to the crunch time where everyone had to fight. There wasn't any more room to do it. You can't be hiding any longer. And it was all about trying to get that key position coming in there. But ultimately, if this is just what we're going to get from the first game, this makes me very happy and excited for what we're going to see across the rest of the season.
Yeah, and what makes it so exciting is the addition of the new teams. You know, the teams that weren't participating in the previous season that have been able to qualify in. It's always good to have that new blood, that new flavor, spice being brought in. And I'm really excited to see what the teams are going to be bringing to the table. So far, match 1, absolutely amazing.
Well, we're going to kick it to a break, and when we come back, when we're moving on to Sanhok, completely different terrain, some more madness for you guys to see, so make sure you're back with us in just a few moments.
Arena 5. Cool down to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
Oppo Rena 5. Hold it to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
Welcome back to the PMCO Africa full split, and my oh my, Erangel started off strong. Some teams coming in very heavy hitting, plenty of kills alongside the placement points of it. But we looked at Influence Rage Africa, looking like they might be in a good position to get it done, DK. But it was Blackjack Esports that managed to steal that one away, and a 30-point game. Not bad to kick it all off with.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that first match was an absolute banger of a match. And yeah, as you said before, if that is just the first match, what are we to expect in the rest of the games, not only in today, but for the rest of the group stage? I mean, it is going to be pretty crazy to see what the teams are going to bring and how they are going to deliver that gameplay. And I mean, already just looking at the results, we had 3 teams finishing on double-digit kills. Sorry, 2 teams finishing on double-digit kills. Again, absolutely insane way to kick it off.
Yeah, and that on its own right says to the level of what we're going to get through this lobby. But one thing I looked at when it came to it is that a lot of rotations, right, was a bit more passive. There wasn't many people taking shots. They weren't taking big risks this early on, and that can make sense of it. But obviously, we're going to watch that probably develop over the next few days and see teams say, okay, look, we can take some risks here. They'll learn a little bit more, do their research, look back at the games and say, okay, what can we take from this? What can we pull into the next few games that come up to find some success?
But what's quite exciting also is the teams, they're really bringing it. So I mean, even if the teams have competed against each other in smaller events or whatever the case is, that's not necessarily a clear indication of what to expect moving in towards PMCO. Because now we come in, some of these teams, they just started off absolutely just swinging it all the way they can, and I mean, potentially they're starting to try and bring in a little bit of a dominance, trying to get themselves set up early enough on that leaderboard so they don't have to work as hard going into those final few days, because then it's essentially just a situation of doing a few little tweaks, just kind of clearing it up, neatening it up as they move in, and it's actually a little bit of an easy approach then.
Yeah, certainly is. And the approach, though, will change completely when we move on to our next map, right? We're going on to Sanhok next, and you look at it and you think, okay, you can't even compare the two, right? We get a lot faster play. You get the craziness that can go down. It's a whole different style of play, which we'll start to see which teams maybe feel more comfortable when they move over to this, because we definitely get it where everyone can play Erangel, right? And everyone knows how it plays out. It's the staple map. It's the one that's been in the pool the longest time. When you look at your Sanhoks, you look at your Miramar, and you get a few teams that like they have maybe a better understanding of it, or it's just one they prefer that works for their style of play. So we're going to learn a lot as well, and we're going to see a lot of it go down. But I'm certainly excited to see maybe if we can get another team that just pops off and shows their stuff as being the people who could be the kings of when it comes to Sanhok.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a great possibility for that. And what I like so much about the Sanhok map is not only is it really forcing the players to get into that close quarter fight and engagements, but also they get punished much easier if they make any mistakes. So if there's anything wrong, something they need to work on, it is definitely going to be pointed out when coming in towards Sanhok. So I'm excited to see what the teams are going to bring in. And as you said, maybe we could have another team popping off and claiming that winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, I'm going to go down for everyone watching. I'm going to go down the points that we've got here. So obviously we touched on Blackjack Esports. It was 30. Influence Rage Africa had 25. Exusia came in with 18. The Drogans 15. Then it starts to dwindle down in numbers. You mentioned right about double digits for a lot of these guys in here. 21st Century walked away as 6. Games Unite Nations 6. Affiliate Apex 5. MZR Esports 4. Honored Souls Africa 3. Rilla Insider 2. And it just goes down to 2s and 1s. Only 2 teams managed to walk away with 0 points, Ray's Clan and Somalia. Not the ideal start from, but you can just kind of brush it off and you say, all right, we didn't get going. We didn't get our time to shine. Let's look at the next ones we've got and see how it all pans out. But we're almost ready to fly in. It is Sanhok, like we've been mentioning. Right now, it's still all up in there. It's all to play for. It's only the second game. So let's start that plane. Let's find our way in. And let's make sure that we are born to win. As welcome to another exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much-loved Reno 5 series. The phone that's on your screen is now the phone that you want to grab yourself if you want to take some big wins. And maybe, we'll be covering some up-and-coming players who grab themselves that phone in future PMCO Africa events.
Yeah, be quite exciting to see. And speaking about exciting, the teams and the players are starting to make their way down on it towards the map. So as we know on Sanhok, that flight path is not too important. The more important part is where the teams position themselves, and then also where that first initial zone pops up. That determines pretty much the outcome of this match to quite a big degree. So definitely looking to see what the teams are going to be bringing. Should we have any hot drop action coming in? I mean, this is the ideal map to get that done on.
Yeah, there you go. That's one where you can get away with it, right? It's not as punishing on other maps where you'd be able to maybe not get away with it, for example. So we'll wait and see how it all pans out. In terms of where this circle's first gone, though, up off towards our western island overall. A lot of water in there, which could be problematic, right? Because it just takes space away from some teams. But you may get someone who decides to go for a boat rotation at all. But now I'm also just going to be keeping an eye on who goes where, and if there's any spots that are more open on the map for, like you mentioned, with the hot drops, maybe there is a chance where you say, okay, I didn't get the spot I wanted, but this was open. I can go here next time.
And I'm definitely expecting the 2 bridges we've got in play to be, quite a bit of a choke point, as we see quite a few teams still positioned over on towards, the main island. And that northwestern island, we only have 3 teams currently positioned on that being the players from Ultima, the EXS team, as well as Honored Souls. So that could be a comfortable spot for them to be, as they're not really contested. But I'm curious to see how the teams on that main island are going to be playing it. I mean, over on towards the ruins, we can see the Drogons here just making their way through, grabbing their loot. But right up ahead of them, MZR, there's some potential for some early game engagements.
And that's what they have to be careful of here. Drogons obviously managed to get themselves a good amount of points going into the first game. Can they pick up some early points here and overrun one of the MZR players? It's Tipris who's stuck in. He's got a 4-man push going on him. Like, this is problematic. He's got the nade pinned. He's hoping that someone might just run into it. But they're just going to run around, shoot him down. Easily found, easily killed off. And, well, compared to Erangel, it did start off with a bit of a bang, but it's just one player. And a 4-man push on top of him, I don't fancy anyone's chances in that.
I mean, of course, Dan the man is putting the shot straight on through, but here comes a little bit of a retaliation, a little bit of justice, as MZR now look to, get a little bit of repayment for their teammate getting taken down with a 4-man rush. Dan taking quite a bit of punishment in that engagement, getting knocked. And now we look to see just what they're going to do. I mean, are the Drogons going to continue with that momentum? Could we see potentially the players there from MZR looking to get aggressive, looking to avenge their teammate? Currently, a little bit of a repositioning coming here from IBX, but definitely a bit of potential still.
Something certainly to keep an eye on. He's trying to see if he can get a little bit more room to look at. He needs to be careful that the side swipe doesn't come in there if someone doesn't try to push around him. You see Ghost, he's gone for a slightly different position to where the rest of his team are. The rest of MZR has joined up here, and what MZR has to really realize is, do we really want to stay here for too long and commit to this where it could really bite us and we get taken out? Because we're fighting an uphill battle in the sense that we don't have the numbers in this one. And it really would rely on some mistakes also to come out from Drogons for them to try and capitalize on it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with them disengaging, trying to reposition in stronger area in the zone, because also now they've got that zone right behind them. Yes, of course, the rest of those behind them is pretty open, so they are sitting quite comfortably there, but this is where they need to try and put themselves, or kind of take themselves out of their comfort zone. They need to try and bring in that extra additional play, because essentially, you know, the teams here are looking to set up that foundation. And this is the best time to get it done. The early game, day one, match two, go out, get the points, get yourself established, and set up that foundation.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Especially if you're the groups that obviously it's A and B playing today, C and D are playing tomorrow. But the beauty is, and I hope some of the people in chat right now are players from Group C and D, so they should be looking at this and trying to get some extra research done, find where teams go, maybe how they want to play. Because right now, Rays, who did go out with 0 points in the opening game, going to find themselves already into a bit of an engagement. It's Unique that's going to push on them. Certain team that we saw in Erangel to get aggressive early on, like to try and take these fights. Gets the spot, gets the drop on him, does able to tag him up a little bit, but can't quite get the kill. Pushing straight out into it, and although he tries to hit the floor, no cover fire from his teammates is there to help it out. And Unique, they're going to start strong once again, at least with the knock. Now that the confirm coming in, Unique do need to be careful because they're not sure where the rest of the teams and players are. Sorry. Oh, he gets shot in the back. They weren't ready for the 2-2 split from Rays. And they lose Sorry straight away.
Hey man, that is an unfortunate position, but you know, over on Erangel, both these teams had a really early kind of finish with regards to positioning where they ranked in that particular match. So hopefully this match, it could be a little bit of an improvement. Already the players here from Rays, they are going to be looking to do exactly that, applying the pressure now on towards Unique, putting them on a slight bit of a back foot. But I'm liking this approach coming in from the Rays clan. They really just starting to circle the players here from Unique, taking up those angles, looking to see if they can find any of those vulnerabilities, those weak points, and potentially apply a little bit of pressure there.
Yeah, and that's a smart play to try and do, especially considering you are also split up. You've got Unique locked down and pinned into a spot, which is fine. You can try and fight them there, but you're also trying to keep your other teammate alive who is further split away from you guys. If he gets pushed, if they find onto him, then it's going to be very problematic for Rays to try and deal with it. So controlling the area, trying to see a good vantage point to also make sure they can see him and understand what's going on. They want to make sure they can keep Lucas alive and try and get him out of there.
It's going to be absolutely essential if they're looking to continue the roll all the way up in towards those later phases. And now, Aqua, I'm keeping a very watchful eye on his teammate, but he should be watching the opposing team. I mean, it's good to have that awareness, knowing where your teammates are, and you know, if they come under some pressure, that you could potentially look to alleviate that. But yeah.
I thought that was bang on him. I thought I was going to get the knock. There's a hell of a lot of damage. He's going to go straight in and heal himself up, but he does have the cover fire. You mentioned it, right? Aqua there looking down onto it. Lucas still looking to take some extra shots in here. Is he going to have a chance of it? Flames at his feet, not burning.
It's a special molly.
The molly that surrounds but doesn't touch you.
Yes. It's just there for aesthetics. You know, that's all it is. But I'm curious to see whether this grenade just barely misses. You can see Cage just flinching there, but that was an involuntary flinch coming through. The shockwave pushing in from the opposite end of that wall. But now this has turned into a little bit of a Mexican standoff right here on Sanhok. But I'm liking that quick reposition coming in from Aqua. Rays clan looking pretty proactive, still looking to find that opening, that angle on towards Unique. But I mean, this is a waiting game. Unique, they've set themselves up. They're holding strong, and now curious to see whether or not Rays will be able to potentially even pry a bit of an opening into the defenses here.
With the smoke coverage going down as well, he might be able to escape and at least join up with the rest of his team. They bought him some time, but can they make it work? They're exchanging shots for now. But this is where Rays have like swapped positions, right? They found the same compound that Unique found themselves in. Now they're on the other side of it. They decided to chase Lucius around. But he's wanting to get out of there. Oh, 20. Nice. A big bit of damage being done. Can't get the knock on it, but now they're aware that there's another team to the other side. 21st Century, they won't be able to jump in and third party this because now they are known.
But it's quite a cheeky approach coming in from 21st Century. Just utilizing the fact that Unique and the players here from Race Clan are caught up in this engagement, looking to capitalize on that, repositioning themselves. But now, of course, 21st Century can see that there's not really much coming from this engagement just yet. So ideally, they would look to reposition over on towards the northwestern zone as the zone has shifted up once again, continuing over in towards northwest. And I mean, this is where Honored Souls, EXS, as well as the players from Zero Tolerance Skill and then also Ultima find themselves in a fairly decent position. But now still, you know, Unique and Raze, they need to kind of wrap this fight up.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of time, right? We've been on this for probably 8 minutes out of the 10 that the game has been live. That on its own is a huge problem for him because, yeah, you've got 1 kill each, but you're also down now to only having 3 people left in the squad. You've not really gained any ground from this. You're just at a standoff, like you mentioned, where no one's really benefiting right now. And eventually they're going to have to move. They're right on the edge of the circle, you know, so they can sit there for a little bit longer, but then time's are ticking and someone's going to have to wait it out and get going. And then even that, once you've dealt with this, to try and move out, you have to find additional space, you know, and there'll be other teams ready and waiting for you who have been hearing this, who have been waiting for you to come out.
Yeah, and it could be quite detrimental. So, I mean, I understand that they don't want to be the team to give up on a position, but at this point in time, a disengagement would be, I think, in advice, as we can already see the players there from Raze slowly starting to mobilize themselves again. Not an overly aggressive decision there. They're just getting those vehicles ready to move. And meanwhile, over on towards that northwestern island, we can see the teams all just casually moving into position. We got Ultima up on the high ground, looking to sit quite comfortable. And again, Influence Rage starting it off, fighting it over in towards Hatin. You can see those shots coming into the kill feed. And this is where this whole region that we're moving into, positioning is so essential. Because if you hold high ground, you can leverage that on the teams down below. Also vice versa, depends on where that zone goes.
And we just saw in the kill feed, I think a knock and a kill went the way of Unique onto Raze. So Unique are holding the position still and actually found some success with it. So the standoff is now turning into a slight battle coming in. But it's still a big waiting game. Now look at this position here from 21st Century. They moved away from where the action was going off towards them. They seem to have a good idea that MRZ is just up in front of them. Just whether they want to take that fight and go further into it yet. Some damage has been done onto some of the MRZ players. And it's still, again, despite Sanhok being a faster map, despite things closing in and being smaller in terms of space to fight from, it's very passive from these teams. Keeping it chill, not going too far just yet. Everyone understands how important these games are early on. They want to be able to get off to as good a start as possible here for day one.
Yeah, they don't want to make any mistakes or any missteps. And I mean, that blue zone is slowly making its way through, but I just noticed we see the players there from Ophelia and Apex all the way up in the north, coming in with a little bit of a botation, trying to evade the rest of the team. So that could actually be quite a big brain play, depending on where this next zone is going to be going. But yep.
Oh dear, this is going to get chaotic to say the least. Maybe the botation was the good idea. You sit out there for a bit, you know, stay far away that you can't be shot at, and you say, okay, we'll wait them to fight it out. We'll go for placement points, you know, because there is not a lot of space. I mentioned it when the first circle popped, right? There was so much water inside of it, but this has just been unforgiving to the teams within the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking the zone shifting continuously up in towards that northwestern side, really forcing the hands of the teams. As we've seen now, they're all coming in with a little bit more of a calculated approach. They don't want to be overly aggressive, don't want to find themselves in any vulnerable positions. But as we get closer to those to that 9th phase, potentially even 8th phase, you're going to be seeing the teams starting to dial up that aggression as they are being forced closer and closer together. And speaking of which, here we go, 21st Century now getting right down to business, taking the engagement here with the players there from Mezex. Now, 21st reduced down to Pharaoh. A lot of pressure riding on his shoulders because they don't want to be the first team getting sent back into the lobby. We did see, of course, a really strong play coming in, but will we now have that continuation? 21st Century sitting up in 5th place. Will they be able to hold on? No, Mezexus sending them right back. Well, that's a difficult name.
It's certainly not an easy team name to say, but Mezexus, they walk away with 3 kills off the back of that. Everyone's still alive. They can get the revives on. Okay, it's a bit of tick damage coming in there, but they'll be able to find their way back in. And that's a battle that's going to benefit them at least in the kill points for now. But it's if it's going to also benefit them when they try to push in and stay alive for these further placement points. As Affiliate Apex, we touched on the fact that they had a rotation going on. They've actually got themselves onto land. They've got themselves nice and dry now. INF haven't decided to challenge them just yet, but probably well aware that they did come across because they were just sat towards Harting at the time. And Affiliate, they're now just checking out, looking up high. Some shots being taken. Cage is actually going to get the knock onto Hansel. It's straight in for the kill as well. They're not messing about with it as the Drogons, well, we've seen that they love to fight. They did very well in the first game. They're looking to continue that here on Sanhok. 2 players maybe knocked down, but they've at least cleared up the opponents around them. I'm not a big fan of them reviving like this with no smokes down very much in the open because they can be seen from where they are. And it's Blackjack Esports that was trying to have a look at them as well as other teams. So they've heard the shots. They're scouting out towards them. There you go. Now we see a smoke down on top of it. I'm like that. That makes you feel a little bit better about it all. I always hate, when you see like the revives going down the open, you think, oh no, at any point, someone could just be spotting from far away. Tap, tap. And you haven't got much health anyway. You will have to run after that.
Yeah. I mean, it's always interesting to see, what the teams play. But I guess every situation kind of has its most ideal thing that happens, and then just kind of what happens in the heat of the moment. And now, speaking about heat of the moment, that zone is about to pop up once again. It continues to stay on that coastline, and I don't know if Gun is going to be able to pull off that boat maneuver because they've got a cliffside up ahead of them, and I don't see any easy access back onto land there.
Yeah, this is troublesome for them. They thought the rotation was great to start off with. Maybe they just play the long game and they don't even go in for the fights. They just sit back. But still, the fact that there's about 30% of that circle, including the water, does make it difficult for a lot of these teams. Somalia, next team to go down. They also finished with 0 points in the previous match. Not sure how many they got with this one, but going down early like that is less than ideal for them. So the fate didn't change from so far here on Sanhok. And they got 1 point. So they'll have something by their name at least, It's not completely the end of the world, but 2 games in, day 1, 1 point. You start to think, okay, this isn't great, but, we can try and come back. Maybe Miramar's where they can shine. Obviously, the map that's coming up next, going into match 3. But for now, we've still got 41 players alive, but only 14 teams up in it. And a very small circle, a very dangerous ground to fight from. And this is now where we'll start to see chaos begin to ensue onto everyone within the lobby.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, but I'm quite surprised there at the performance of the Dragons. Already 5 kills on board. Really, really decent match for them so far. So hopefully they'll be able to continue with that momentum pushing into these later games. But now this match, is going to be absolutely insane. Affiliate Apex right here alongside INF. Going to be looking to hold on to this northern region. They still need to try and secure that position within the zone. But it is still going to be quite a bit of a fight. 13 teams remain, 38 players. Race Clan gets eliminated. But with that also, we do see Blackjack, our winner, chicken dinner winners from the previous round, getting eliminated in that 13th slot. So quite the turn of events we have in this round.
That is not a position they would be wanting to be going down on, but this is a very difficult map to find consistency and to find good form, especially when the circles are as tough as this. Affiliate Apex already up at 2 kills. They had rotation has worked out. They've been taking this fight onto INF, and so far so good for them. But how much more can they try and get done? None of their players are down and bleeding out just yet. And poor INF, while they were able to patrol a lot of Harting, as the rotations come through, I don't think they've just been ready for the fight that's been taken out towards them.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough one. I mean, this is definitely quite the opposite of what we had in our first match. But a good rotation coming in there from Affiliate Apex, looking to just get ahead of that zone. But now, look at that phase, shifting all the way down into the south there. Really making the teams work for this position. And this is where I'm looking to the players there from Drogons as well as EXS rather, positioned over in towards Camp Alpha. They're so close to zone, but it's going to be a very treacherous kind of stretch there to try and cross to get back up into the zone. Meanwhile, we see quite a few players actually opting down into the drink.
Oh, yes. They've gone for a long potential swim to try and grab out some of these placement points. I think all of Gun are down there right now because we saw them on the boatation, right? So they didn't make their way. And you pointed out that if they were going to try and get into it, they would have just been hitting a wall, a cliff for them that they can't climb. As Drogans, some more shots coming out towards them, but they're going to start with a knock onto Zelkro. It's going to be a hard battle for them to take out in the open. They've got some nice cover to try and hide behind. Dan opted to jump into the car. I would be very careful of that, the amount of bullets that come out towards you, but I know you want to try and escape. Skater's going to look for it. He hears it. They decide to jump out. They're running across. Skater's got good eyes on what's going on, but more bullets come out towards him. They're going to be eliminated. And Drogans, 5 kills now, got themselves into the top 10 as well. But as everyone tries to work their way up the hill, they're just having to stop, take a bit of damage from the blue, fire back, more shots coming out towards them. This is treacherous.
Absolutely brutal play coming in. The players here from Honored Souls now trying to just stay ahead, but also trying to gatekeep the zone at the same time. Ultima being also one of those teams looking to move in right up ahead of them. We do see the players there from the insiders now just trying to get themselves set up within that zone, but it is going to be absolutely brutal as Espada gets taken right on down to the play zone. Being absolutely brutal. 9 teams remain, 21 players still alive. We've only got 2 players currently positioned within the zone. The rest of the teams hugging the edge. You can see that kill feed now just being lit on fire. Now it is up to Steph and Pubg there to try and make a bit of a play for Ultima. But a beautiful shot coming in from Dark Ghost, shooting Pubg in the butt. Now, I mean, this could still be anyone's game.
Yeah, this is wide open. I'm trying to see, based on where the circle is now, on whether the teams and players that are in the water even have a way up. I feel like they are completely out of it. I don't think there's any circle coverage in there for them to get safety with.
I mean,
oh,
look
at them. They're just like, well, we'll die eventually, but as more people die around us, we'll grab some placement points. That's all we can hope for at this point.
Oh, that is a big feels bad, but either way now, the players here from Rilla Insider, they're going to be looking to dominate inside the zone as they do have a beautiful position. Fairly spread out though. We do have Trip positioned all the way over in towards that northwestern side. And then of course, well, we have Zeke.
Oh no.
As well as J-Roller in the south. But oh man, the casualty is coming through. Zeke now steps up, finds a beautiful spray on to Dan.
Easy kill there for Zeke as well. He saw it from around the side. Dan had no idea what was going to hit him. J-Roller's coming up alongside him, which means JR here, he is going to heal up as much as possible. The heal strat is in full effect, but he hasn't got many of these meds, you know. He's not going to be able to stand there for too long. Nice nade comes out from Steph, I believe, that did some damage onto Zeke. So Steph's aware, at least, of where Zeke's sat. Painkiller's going to be popped as well. Another nade goes out, and Steph throwing him forward, knocking him down. And oh, it's stolen away, JR! You sneaky man. Runs out of the blue after executing the heal strap, steals Steph's kill, and J-Roller will finish him off, but it's like, well, now I'm down, my teammate's down. And right now, Rilla Insider, they are looking like the strongest team in the lobby purely because they've got 3 players left alive. Ultima may have managed 11 points so far, but they only have 1 left. It is Steph, and Steph's gone down. Game has ended. Rilla managed to take the win. Very good from them, and it's a 25-point game for them. 21 for Ultima as well. Gamers Unite Nations getting the 14s alongside Drogans, and Affiliate Apex will walk away with 8 at the very end of that. A crazy Sanhok game. Very interesting circles there, DK, and certainly not easy for these teams to deal with. There was so much water in it from start to finish.
Yeah, but of course, you know, this is what makes Sanhok so exciting. So aside from the fact that the teams are being forced into that CQC action, that zone is unpredictable.
Yeah.
You've got a lot more stability on a map, say, for instance, like Erangel, where, you know, you could have that first initial aggressive shift, and then it kind of just goes a little bit passive from that point. But Sanhok is relentless. It really puts the teams to the test. And, I mean, this was a fairly decent match. So well done, well played there to the players from Rilla Insider. Absolutely beautiful chicken dinner.
I got to laugh for Gun, right? They had the boatation. They thought, maybe we can get away with it. If it keeps all that water in, we'll sit and hug the wall the whole way through. And, okay, you got a few additional placement points from it. Not bad, but it's like, Didn't kind of end the way they would have wanted it to do there. But for Rilla, they're going to be living the dream. They managed to hold on to the position. And what I loved there, and what was really impressive, is that they weren't just sat back, right? Sometimes you get kind of into a false sense of security where you sit in the compound, you kind of wait and take a few pop shots. You saw J Roller was further out. They had, I think, was it Dan was further out as well? You know, like they had these players pushed around in order to at least take some space while two were in the compound to provide some cover fire. It was a nice split going on, and they were trying to pick up as many kills as possible before the game ended, which is why they ended with a 25-point win, despite how mad it all was.
Yeah, I mean, some pretty impressive players we saw once again coming into this match. And I got to point it out, though, I mean, the Drogons also, again, continuing with their effort, good consistency, not finding the third place, but finishing in fourth. So a very surprising turn of events coming in from Drogons. As I know that they've had a little bit of a rough patch, but it's good to see, you know, them really coming strong into PMCO. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to be presenting as they go through the rest of the days.
And I'm looking forward to seeing our next match. We're moving to Miramar next, my favorite when it comes to playing PUBG Mobile. Let's see how these teams will do it, but we just got to take a short break, so stick with us. We'll come back soon.
Oppo Rena 5. Cool down to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
Oppo Rena 5. Hold it to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
And just like that, we are back, moving into our third match. But what we just saw on Sanhok was a bit of craziness, a lot of water in there, and it was certainly tough for these teams to deal with what was going on in front of them. But it was Rilla that came out on top, and we'll give a rundown, right, DK, on how these points went out. It was not a bad game for them considering how mad it was. Like, normally on games like that, you see quite a split in how the kills and then the points distributed. They still walked away with 25 points for that game, with Ultimate just behind them on 21.
Yeah, definitely nothing to scoff at there. And of course, we had the players there from the Drogons and Gun finishing off on 14 points apiece. So again, a decent match there for them. It's good to have that consistency with the points coming in. And I'm quite surprised, with the Drogons just stepping up and delivering. And it's a really, really refreshing performance coming in from them.
Yeah, and very important for them to get that as well. It was interesting, right? Because both Gamers Unite Nations and Affiliate Apex, they walked away with the botations, got 14 and 8 points collectively. And for Gamers Unite Nations, they really fought not too much. They had 2 kills in it. It was 12 placement points because they were just chilling along the side of that end of the wall and saying, well, we can't get back up, but, we'll try our best to see what can happen.
But what I also noticed is that actually the players there from Rilla Insider, they were the first team to do a rotation all the way down in the south, heading all the way around. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe they beat everyone to the bunch. Well, they did finish off with that winner chicken dinner. So really good play coming in. But also our overall standings are really starting to be pretty close. I mean, the first top 7 slots there's not a lot of separation. I mean, the point difference between first place and 7th place for the current time is only 10 points.
Oh, wow. So that's already right just after the first couple of games, not too big a difference in it as well. And now we're moving on to Miramar, right? Now we see another unique map in terms of how it will play out and what differences you'll see in there. A lot more openness, a lot more long angles you can take fights and shots on. And it will probably be a bit more of the passive play like we saw early on Erangel before the madness really kicks off, depending on what we get. They also have to be careful of the terrain changes coming in, right? And maybe not wanting to find themselves stuck out, kind of being put on some hilltop somewhere. They want to try and get high ground wherever possible as well. It's very different map to map on how these teams want to play it all out.
Yeah, Miramar definitely going to be quite the exciting match to watch. And what we've seen quite a few times with the teams is they are able to slow down Sanhok like we saw now. But once they go into Miramar, a map that we usually expect to be a bit more of a slow rolling map, they actually have this ability to speed it up. So I'm curious to see whether or not that's going to be the situation once we move into our third match here for the day. So definitely some high expectations. And again, we're hoping to see another team step up and just, clutch it out, take home that winner chicken dinner, because so far we've already had 2 different teams, one on each of the respective maps so far.
Now, I already said, right, Miramar is my favorite map when it comes to this. DK, what is yours? Educate me.
Well, definitely I use Miramar as my ranking map. I don't do Erangel, I don't do Sanhok. Miramar, I've got a whole route that I've worked out that, works for me. It works without fail. Get some good ranking points in there. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate the Miramar map. But sometimes if you want to get down and dirty, you just jump into Sanhok and, get right to business.
Yeah, if you want a fast game, right, with just pure aggression and craziness, you go for that Sanhok play for sure. I like it that you say you got a route worked out for Miramar as well. So people need to be avoiding you when it comes to the ranked matches for sure when it's on Miramar. But for these teams, right, and how they're going to play it out here, again, it's the first time we get to see adaptions, we get to see learnings that come out of it all. And I'm going to keep pressing this, is that when we go into these later days, I think the teams that will find the most success are maybe not just the ones with the best ability, but the ones are putting in their homework, doing the research, looking back at the videos, right? Coming back onto YouTube and saying, oh, okay, look, I'm going to have a look at this and see what these teams are up to. Maybe you can learn something what the other teams are doing, take it into your own games, see what mistakes you've made. Because for me, it's everything about what review you can do on your own performance and how you can make little improvements and adjustments going forward, especially if you maybe didn't get off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to try and identify what points you could work on to improve. And VOD reviews, one of the best ways to get it done, aside from recording your own gameplay, just revising that, seeing which you could have maybe done a little bit better. But it always results in some pretty gameplay. And speaking about interesting gameplay, we're about to head into our third match.
Oh, yes. It's time for us to fly in once again. We've gone away from the warm and moist Sanhok straight up into the desert that is the brilliant map of Miramar. It's very warm, it's very hot, it's very dry, and we're going to get to see a whole different style of play come out from these teams. But as always, we are born to win, and you guys are being welcomed to another exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much-loved Reno 5 series that you should be using to rock it in PUBG Mobile wherever you can.
I mean, that's what you got to do if you want to get the edge. One of the other things you could also do to get the edge is choose a decent position to drop in this particular match. Because, I mean, flight path, it's decent. It's a huge map. There's a lot of spaces to try and move into. So I'm curious to see what the teams are going to do. And also waiting to see what that first initial zone is going to bring. Because sometimes Miramar just has that ability to bring a little bit of an excitement alongside that first initial zone shift.
Yeah, definitely, for sure, man. Because when we look at it, the shifts that can happen can be so drastic that it can change and really cause a lot of confusion for these teams when it comes down into it. Now, Drogon's already out very early on, going on down to Los Higos down there, maybe towards prison. They're going to take this island bound there to themselves. But do you know what I would love? And I didn't get this for any of PMCO last time. I was always praying for it, but I want an island finish. I know it's horrible for the teams. I know the players hate it. But I'm always down to see an island finish. Not going to get it this time either, but I've got a fair few more days of this, so I can hope. I can cross my fingers, my toes, everything else with it.
But which islands, though? I mean, you're talking about the ones on the west or the one down in the southwest? Ones on the east or the southwestern ones?
The east. I had that once throughout my entire commentary career, and I loved every second of it because it was absolute chaos. Players certainly hated it. I even had players message me after when we finished commentating, like, dude, you enjoyed that way too much. And I'm like, I just like to see the world burn. I want to see everything go crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining once that happens. I've actually had a map finish in the water in between those two islands and the mainland. So, yeah, that was also pretty crazy. But speaking about crazy, we have our zone moving all the way up in towards the northeastern side. And this is one of those few times that Campo Militar is actually one of the accessible spots on the map here.
Yes, exactly right. Something to keep an eye on for sure. Brogans, though, they actually jumped down and they're going for a quick move out towards just Valdemar. Got themselves the vehicles they want. They can take a bit longer now on their looting phase of it. But they are going to have quite the journey to take to find themselves into the circle. And for me, I think the least the safest rotation for them to go through, and obviously they would have to do it the way that they feel most comfortable, but is going up throughout the north, taking a longer side and maybe avoid a lot of these teams that will be contested down the south, because it's probably where a lot of the rotation is going to come through from the other teams.
I mean, we don't often see teams actually rotating into Oasis, and we still have a partial bit of Oasis being in play, that southeastern side of it. But I mean, just the edge of the zone is absolutely jam-packed with teams taking up those positions, and we've got a fairly decent spread of teams also positioned within the zone itself. So I'm curious to see, once this blue zone starts closing in the next minute and a few seconds, just where exactly the teams are going to be looking to move into. Are we going to be seeing any risky rotations, any maybe a little bit of a brave play coming through? This is, again, going to be an exciting match.
It definitely will be. And obviously we touched on it already where we're sat with Blackjack Esports just ahead with 30 points, but the Drogans there on second currently after just the 2 matches. Remember, gaining as many points as you can as possible is going to be key here, but it's so close even within the top set of teams here. Just 6, well, I'd say just 7 all the way up to first. 20 to 30 points. One good game can see you jump right up early on and take that lead. And it's quite often you see this, right, in the early day where like 1 or 2 teams will run away, but everything else is more split out. It's quite nice already to see such a spread, but such a leap for some of these teams in terms of the amount of points they've gained just across 2 matches, which is just going to show to the overall strength of the lobby and the strength of the teams within the region. 32 teams, right, going head to head. And it's certainly not going to be easy. It's certainly going to be a big task because only 1 team goes off to the championship.
I mean, and it's a really healthy competition. I'm just looking at the performance of the team so far. We've got 2 teams sitting on 15 kills apiece, that being Blackjack as well as Influence Rage. So again, some of the returning teams coming in, showing us what they've got. And I think as we progress through the groups, seeing all the teams that have played in Season 1, joining us back again in Season 2, showing, how they've improved, how they've evolved, and how they've been able to adapt their gameplay. It's definitely going to be a very, very exciting group stage that we have. And I mean, I'm just so curious to see what Miramar is going to deliver as the team's still looking for that position. I mean, the jungle's still fresh in my mind, just hanging around there. But I mean, in the desert, anything can still go.
It certainly can. Now, at least for now, we're not seeing too much of these rotations. We're still early on in this. We're just watching everyone loot up and get themselves ready as best as possible. Already seeing what gear can be grabbed and where you might be able to take a good vantage point, but it's also going to be looking to scout further ahead early on. For the teams within the circle, not too much of a problem. But for some of these teams down in the south, maybe a quicker direction into the circle may be an option for them, just so they don't get caught off guard or run into too much trouble early on here.
Yeah, it is going to be a bit of work, as you pointed out there, for the Dragons to bring in that long rotation. They are quite far away from that zone, but fortunately on Miramar, the first and second phase, it is somewhat forgiving. It's not doing too much damage, but they definitely need to try and prioritize those rotations, try and cover as much ground as they can, as early as they can, because that zone can easily catch up with you. And we've seen it a few times where players underestimate just how brutal the blue zone can really be.
And as always, early blue zone, not too much damage, nothing to worry about, but it also adds to the pressure, You don't want to be just having to run for it the whole time and you never know what's going to be coming up next. Purpose, want to have a little bit of style points in here as he works his way forward alongside his team. Having some fun with it as well while he's got the chance, while he's got the time. They'll already find themselves now into the circle, so it wasn't a far or hard rotation for them. The Drogans have still decided to stay in Valdemar for now. They're not looking to go, but we saw them. They picked up their vehicles, put themselves into the spot they want to be in.
This is not a bad rotation actually coming in from the players here from Race Clan. I mean, they're hugging the edge of this cliff line, as we can see just up ahead of them. We do have the players there from MZ positioned there. So I'm curious to see how that's going to pan out. And then, of course, the players here from Team Somalia also looking to make a bit of a stand. They are quite exposed in this position. They do have gun over on towards that eastern side, holding into La Bendita. But again, nothing too crazy just yet. There's quite a bit of distance still separating these teams. And I mean, I even still quite a few times forget just how much space there actually is here. If you look at the map, it looks like the teams are like right on top of each other. And then you jump in only to see that they're about probably 5 days apart. So I'm curious to see once we get closer and closer to those later few phases, just whether or not we're going to have teams looking to get a little bit aggressive. Because, I mean, Miramar, you can get away with so much of that. You can move in, get a little bit of that a ninja approach on any of the opposing teams and still potentially even escape from that utilizing the ridge lines.
Yeah, give yourself that extra bit of cover, Make sure you're protected wherever possible. Now, you mentioned about Raze and the position they had before. They're just slowly moving, still scouting around. They're not looking to go too far They went around the sides. They obviously went undetected within that. Kept themselves covered, but now they also have to keep their eyes peeled, especially when they don't know what they're going to be coming up against and what could be around them. Remember, being the first time playing Miramar, they're learning about the lobby, seeing where the other teams go.
Yeah. And again, I mean, positioning is absolutely essential now as we come to the end of our first phase. That second phase pops all the way over on towards a slight southeastern position. Still very centralized in the zone here. So I'm curious to see, though, if you're going to have any teams looking to make any advancements. Gun, beautifully set up. They can sit quite comfortably on the high ground. Meanwhile, we do have the plays here from Ultima getting into a little bit of an exchange as Race Clan now starts picking off the shots. Unfortunately, not the most ideal engagement, but it's still far from over as they can now look to apply a little bit of pressure. And we do have Espada trying to push over to Steth to get that race going. But now, Tamo still coming in with the grenades, looking to apply a little bit of pressure. And this is actually a good play for Race Clan, having that one player on the off angle.
Yeah, this is nice for him. Keep him pinned in. Try and stop the revive going down if possible. Espada's like being cautious of it. He wants to get the revive while, but also doesn't want to be pushed at the same time. Oh, Ammo needs to be careful. Steph may find himself, obviously we saw it knocked, and then Aiden's able to provide some extra fire from Ultima from around the side. So even though he was away and he was trying to sideswipe them a little bit, it actually becomes problematic for him now because they're so split away. They don't want to take that run across. You'd have to put a hell of a lot of smokes down, right? So how they deal with this is going to be very interesting. Because now you're in a 4v3 with your player knocked that you can't quite reach you. They're throwing some smokes down. But how many have they got that they really want to spend them all so early on and try and get that push across? I like this. Aiden running around the side, wants to see if he can spot out ammo from anywhere. And this could be Razor's undoing. Steph back on his feet. Takes down Perk as well straight away. And Raze, they're split. They're hurting. They've lost a player already. And I won't have any idea how they're going to try and deal with this.
Yeah, this is going to be quite important for Raze to try and attempt a stand. I mean, Ultima, they're pushing in. They've been trying to build up that momentum, and so far it's been working out exceptionally well for them. We do see them positioned up in that 5th place, and if they are now able to close this one off, they could look to improve those points even more so. And some beautiful grenades getting sent up, but A-Man quickly venturing out, gets picked up by Espada without even missing a single breath there. And now it's down to break. It is now do or die time. And Race Clan looking pretty tough. They could be the first team getting sent back into the lobby.
They really could be because, well, Break has lost his teammates around him. And potentially he's about to be broken by the remaining players of Ultima who could push him at any point. They're on the hunt for him. Break. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, he's not checking it. Aiden. Oh, that was close. That was way too close for comfort. He didn't quite check it. He just went in almost to loot and have a look around. And then, oh, here you are. Does get him taken down. Raze will find themselves out with 0 points. They got the knock onto Steph, couldn't get anything else done. And that'll find them not having a successful Miramar to start off with here, despite the engagement initially starting to go their way.
So that is just how...
Oh, he tried to push in. The flames hit him. He's like, oh, nope, let's run back. And now they're 2 players knocked, actually. Affiliate and Apex, with 2 players knocked, they need to be careful. EXS could quite easily push out to them on this. They just depends on the information they have and where these players sit.
Yeah. I mean, information is absolutely key here. And I mean, Affiliate and Apex, they're trailing behind with about 8 points behind the players here from Excuse the Up. But now, oh, this is where EXS are going to be looking to apply that pressure. Quite a bit of damage being done to the side of Affiliate and Apex. Those grenades getting cooked up, getting sent on through. Sicko now just trying to hold up, but a beautiful grenade finds its way in. Kage, as we saw also, he lit himself on fire with that molly, and now it's all up to Blessin to try and bring it home, to bring it in. But EXS just so relentless, continuing rather to send up those grenades. Up comes a little bit of a rush here from Zelgot, finds the knockdown. He goes, a beautiful play, and now Stoney, the lone ranger, trying to put a little bit of distance between him and this absolute slaughter.
And that's exactly what it was. An absolute slaughter. Exusia came through, right? And not only did they hold their compound, but they were hitting the shots. Looked at the timings they were poking out at. They knew when it was time to actually push out as a full unit and try and deal the rest of the damage. Stony is going to escape, but flipping the buggy, a few style points for it. Not exactly ideal when you're potentially being chased, but he will still get away with no problems at all. And for Exusia now, they sit there and say, okay, we got away with that, and they must be feeling hugely confident. You notice every time they went to take the shot through the windows, like they were lasering, straight up lasering. Really strong performance.
Yeah, I mean, good play under pressure there. And speaking about pressure, the players here from Influence Rage could potentially be looking to apply their own bit of pressure onto the players here from Honored Souls. Honored Souls holding onto the compound. A good spot rather to be in. But I'm curious to see what Influence Rage are going to do. I mean, they do have quite a few ridge lines to utilize here. They do have that ability to move around and position themselves. But also, we see the team there from Gun just a little bit further down to the south, but Gun actually now coming in with a 2-2 split, and I'm curious to see what they too are going to be doing. But now, yeah, standoff time again.
And these standoffs, a waiting game for someone to make a mistake, try and capitalize on teams maybe going too far away. And, well, out in the open, Exusia, we were just complimenting on what they managed to achieve. Can they find themselves digging their way out of this one? Zelgod trying to avoid the bullets. The buggy not providing the most amount of cover for him. Shots being returned as FaZe wants to try and light up one of the Somali players. But they need to make sure they handle this well. Nice little 2-2 split with still being close enough to each other. More shots coming forward. Zelgod now put on the floor. The car explodes as well, and FaZe won't get out of this one. And actually, Exusia, it was looking good for them when we saw that first engagement. They stopped, had no idea that Somalia would just be sat there, and now they've been punished for it.
I mean, I'm curious to see, though, what El Chapo, Beast, and the rest of the team there from Team Somalia are going to bring. But meanwhile, we do see the Drogons pushing up alongside BJE once again. Zay now being a little bit isolated from the rest of the team, but we can see those reinforcements looking to push a little bit closer. Meanwhile, Shaky Boy going to try and venture up into the zone, just coming out of the blue, but the shots come through. Down he goes as NG and Zane just close it right on up. Very quick elimination there. And Drogons, yeah, being put on a slight bit of a back foot here. So I'm curious to see whether or not they'll be able to make a bit of a bounce back from this.
And the thing is, Drogons have had some really good games, right? Consistency has been there in the first two matches. They would not want to go out early on here. Remember, there's still 15 teams remaining in this lobby for now on Blackjack Esports. 4 alive on this one. Not going straight in for the hunt on the Drogons, looking to play it smart as well. Don't want to overextend, which is always key. Certainly the Drogons now split apart, wounded, and certainly under pressure.
Oh, man, here we go. Players there from 21st Century also now just finding their way up into Wood Zone, coming in from the western edge. Ghost here just keeping a very watchful eye, so again, a very calculated play coming in from the Drogons. Meanwhile, 21st Century, they're just going to try come in swinging, sending the spray over on towards the players there from Team Somalia. But now, this is going to be an interesting zone because we got so many teams now starting to push in. I mean, we still have 15 teams remaining, 54 players alive, and there's not a lot of space left. Yes, it is Miramar. It is a little bit bigger, but still, I mean, there's really not that much to work with. And for these next few phases, this is where that positional play is going to be absolutely essential for the success of a team. And we can see the players there from Team Somalia coming under fire in the kill feed as 21st Century is just lighting them up. But Gun now also getting ready to move into those engagements. Meanwhile, the players here from the Mazex's team just holding on, keeping a watchful eye. Unique up ahead of them, but they do have a little bit of pressure coming in from Ultima on the side.
This is the problem now, right? Pressure from all sides. Very open in terms of how this would all work out. Don't want to overextend onto one fight just because you see them, because you could be shot at from another direction here. And that's why you're going to see these players keep checking around, not fully focus on an engagement until they can be really confident with it all. And it is happening all across the map right now. We're at phase 4, soon to be going into phase 5. It's not too far away. Still, though, 14 teams, 49 players in it. Just look how close they are to each other. You know, like You can look in one direction and someone can spot someone, and this is why they're going to be looking for cover at every single side.
Yeah, and I mean, the pressure is just mounting. The closer and closer we get into these later phases, with the sheer number of players we still have remaining, it is going to be an absolute hornet's nest once we get to that point. But now, this is an interesting spot here for MZR. I mean, they caught in between the players there from Team Somalia, positioned over to the south. To the north, they got the team there from 21st Century, but also 21st Century are down in that compound. And I mean, now the zone's going to shift. Curious to see what they're going to try and do. And all three of these teams here, they need to now reposition. So I think the first team to budge could potentially be the first team to be punished.
Yeah, that's it, right? First one to make a mistake. The other teams will try and capitalize on it. The third parties could be coming through strong as ever. Somalia, though, for now, on Miramar, they've shown us they can fight, and they're looking to do some more damage here as well. Playing smart, sitting behind the rock. There's a lot of players, though, with the high ground advantage over them. So it's going to take the key shots to be landed, and also having to avoid all these nades. For now, MRZ can't get the nades deep enough. Oh, wow. Both sides have to take the shots. They need to be careful, though. They need to be so careful.
Wow, I don't know how much ammo they've got, but man, that mag sounds huge, and up comes the shots. Oh, there we go. Of course, now the players here getting rushed. The sprays come through. Team Somalia going to be looking to close this one up. You can see, oh, come on, can you get it done? Blood just hugging the edge of that rock, trying to bring it in, but down he goes. Now the players here from MZR reduced down to their final hopeful. Up comes the shots, and down they are.
Oh, dear.
The next team back into the lobby. 10th place overall. Well,
MZR. They were fighting, but they were very exposed. Hidden from both sides. And despite having high ground over the teams, it did not work out for them. And now we're watching the Dragons. They're going to sit here, or the Drogans even, and sit there against Blackjack Esports, who are looking for more kills, who are looking to fight and looking to keep it aggressive. They want to jump back up in a big way.
oh, come on. This zone is going to be pretty hot and heated. And it's quite interesting to see the Drogons there. Oh, yeah. No, the what? Done and dusted.
They tried to rotate.
Wow.
They tried to get out of it, but instead they were punished and found. And that's what happens sometimes, right? When you disengage and the circle's not big, it becomes a problem to actually get out of there and escape. And well, that's exactly the fate they found themselves meeting.
Yeah, the beauty of PUBG Mobile. But here we go now. Zero Tolerance skills looking to move in. Beautiful spray coming in here from Bubble. Ultima really bringing in an absolutely phenomenal performance so far. Now Skydo, the last remaining hopeful for Zero Tolerance, going to try and squeeze himself in. But we do still see Inspector there from Influence Rage, just holding out in the blue zone. Can still afford to be there for a little while longer, but he needs to start thinking of the way back in as the blue zone is about to close on up. The 6th phase is about to pop, and this is going to be quite a bit of a fight. We can see the players there from Gun just off in the distance, very up close and personal to the players there from Team Somalia. But with that, Influence Rage gets eliminated. The zone moves back up into the north. Gun already having quite a few hits sent their way, still being able to hold on to all their players.
And that's huge, especially right now when everyone else is dwindling on numbers. But it's how long you can keep that up for. Somalia as well, right? They've had a couple of bad games. It's not been looking good for them. They had 1 point across 2 games. Right now, this is obviously looking to be the best game by far for them. But they've actually shown some real competence in the fights they've been taking. It's been smart decision-making. They may have lost 2 players so far, but up at 6 kills with a top 10 position, at least for now, is good. And as more teams drop around them, that's Ultima going down. Somalia looking to really have a strong Miramar game.
It definitely looks like they found their rhythm, you know, maybe just trying to get that in the first 2 initial games. But first 2 initial games coming into this 3rd one. A really decent play there, as you've pointed out. But now, Gun also really stepping it up. So far, sitting on 7 kills. Still have 3 players remaining. Looking to see whether or not they're going to look to get a little bit aggressive as they move on through, but this is going to be quite the challenge, as we can see the zone starting to converge. Blue zone finding its way on in. 7 teams remaining, 17 players still alive. Players here from Rilla Insider now trying to get their numbers back up into fighting form. Team Somalia reduced to 2. As we can see, Hanad and Co there. Mr. El Chapo just holding on. But we have the players there from Blackjack, full squad, rolling up to the zone, looking to come in on that eastern side. So this is once again where the pressure can be applied all across the board. But who's going to be the team to do that?
That is the big question. Ooh. Blackjack Esports looking to fight smart here. Jassa from 21 goes down. Molly going to be placed. Went a bit too deep. I think he actually threw it too far. You can hear the footsteps above him. Obviously, pressure's on. You know, it's hard to actually get every nade on point and get it out perfectly. Oh, Matrix jumps out. The flames leave. Just he jumps. He was like a second away from potentially being tagged up by that, but he will escape for now. Vile needs to be careful, though. He's going to get found on his own. Matrix will find himself getting knocked down. Rillis eliminated our previous winners as well. And Blackjack Esports, well, they're saying, we're coming back into this. We were not happy with Sanhok, but Miramar, we're going to make it our own. And they're still in a good position to do it here, but they don't want to take too many fights at one time. There's 4 teams remaining. There's a lot of pressure being applied to them. Vile's having to avoid all the utility coming out towards him. He's slightly more separated from the rest of his team, but he is in a good spot at least to stay hidden. And what are these other teams going to try and do? Somalia is still up on it with 2.
Will that be the money? Oh, man, it's so close. But I got to say, though, even the players here from Mazex's, also a really great improvement on their gameplay coming in towards Miramar. Also, a really tough start for them so far. But here we go. Going to be looking to make this play work in their favor. Unfortunately, Vile finds the hits and up they go. Come on. Oh, down they are, done and dusted. 3 teams remain to fight it out, to duke it out for that winner chicken dinner. Team Somalia being one of those teams as they come rushing in. But again, Gun up in the top 3. Oh, with that Blackjack now gets eliminated. And it is Team Somalia up against Gun to fight it out for the chicken dinner.
This is huge, though. They've done this with 2. They came in, sideswiped Blackjack Esports after they dealt with MZR. And now we're in a position where Gun, yeah, they should be the ones to take this. But if they make some mistakes, if they miss some shots, Somalia can overrun them in some way, then they could be in a problem situation where they lose a game which was in the grasp of their hands. I like how this has come around, though, right? 2 players have Gun together. 1 further out towards the side, just patrolling to see if anyone's going to come forward. They're spending out this utility for now. But the problem here is Gun have the high ground and control of the circle. Let's be honest, it's just 2 compounds that Somalia have to sit within for now. And that isn't how you're going to win this game out.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But, I mean, so far, both Team Somalia and Gamers Unite Nations, they've really been stepping it up in this past match. Just look at those kill counts, 11 and 9 respectively. But is it going to be a match in which then finishes off on 12, or is it going to be 13? Either way, it's still going to be a very impressive kill count. And now it's, again, just a little bit of a waiting game. We can see that blue zone closing on up. The 8th phase is about to pop, and then it's a do or die situation once again. Either Team Somalia will have to push, or the players here from Gun will have to push into those compounds. And looking at this position coming in from the side of Gun, they could potentially maybe have the upper hand, especially with Pounds on that off-angle play. And the zone shifts in their favor.
This is very difficult now. Nerf me, you cheeky man. I like it. I'm all for the showboating and the showing off from start to finish. But, you know, anything can happen at any point. You would say 9 out of 10 games, this is Guns. But there's that one game where something else could be happening. For Somalia, they're doing their best to grab some extra loot or whatever else they can find to fight this off. Gun, they can just patiently sit back and wait. The problem is, the moment these Somalia players... All right, Gun are now just having fun. They're just like, let's just wait this out. They can't win. But don't get too overconfident. Don't send a player down into some madness, you know, something like that. I like this from El Chapo. Smoke's down. He's going to try and make... He doesn't expect the player to the side, though, does he? He's going to get absolutely wrecked the moment he wants to push up. Shots coming out. Plaza's the one to provide it. Pounds up high behind the tree. The damage is ready to be done. Pounds just needs to strike when the iron's hot. They're starting to close them in. Plaza working out from behind the rocks, but Pounds goes down. Oh, no. El Chapo
Ooh.
getting some good damage on, but they're low on health. And nade could be problematic for him at this stage. Plenty of shots going out through the smoke. Plaza at least has the rocks to give him some cover. Pound's going out to the play zone. This is not what they wanted. Chapo out in the open. He may have exposed himself too far here. He went for the Hail Mary play and couldn't take Plaza with him. Now it's into a 1v2. Plaza still shooting out through the smoke. He's playing it smart. His teammates there to try and back him up. Gamers Unite Nations will get a 28-point winner chicken dinner. But Team Somalia, honestly, that impressed me. They gave it their all. They tried to be really smart of it, where other teams might even just decide to give up. And you saw Gun. Nerf me, you did your little dance, you had your little poke out, you're shooting your teammates, you're having some fun with it. I'm never against it, but at any point, a little thing like that could have happened, where you just see Somalia push forward and try and steal the game from you. So a lot of respect for Somalia for that second place, but a huge win still there for Gun.
Yeah, I mean, still a really strong effort coming in there from Somalia. I mean, we've seen it a few times where teams find themselves in that pressure situation and they've already decided their fate. But both Team Somalia, as well as the players there from Gun, they were not backing out of it. They were deciding, you know what, we're going to go down swinging regardless of what the final result is. So a really great performance from both teams.
And that was a never give up moment. And I absolutely love it and respect it. We're going to take a look at our match rankings and see the points as they come onto your screen. 28 in total for Gun there, 22 for Somalia, 21 for Blackjack Esports. And then it trickles on down further throughout. But my, oh my, I was impressed with this Miramar. I love a bit of Miramar anyway. I'm a big fanboy of the map. It's my favorite. It's my home ground. And right now, if Somalia could show me some more of that on Miramar, I'd be in for it all day long, DK.
Yeah, I mean, and again, some healthy kill points coming in here, as we can see, 13, 10, and 11. That, again, shows a good consistency coming through. So that definitely does impact the overall standings quite a bit, as we know. Teams who can hold that stability, that consistency, really benefit from it. And it's good to see the team here from Gun making a bit of a comeback. They should now be on, I'm guessing, around about a 48-pointer. But as we've seen, this leaderboard has just been so neck in neck. It is such a tough competition just in the first day, in the first few matches. So I'm really curious to see what the teams are going to look to bring.
Oh, for sure. And there's only one more match left for today as well. Fair few teams, though, in with 0 points on this one. Honored Souls, MZR Esports, Raze, and Affiliate Apex. Not ideal for them, but I think the big one is Drogon's. Because Drogon's, across the first two games, they had these consistent placements, which was looking really good for them, right? In total, before this game ended, they had, 2 games, 29 points they managed to amass. We're just adding 1 to this. Okay, it bumps you up to 30. Great. It's not the end of the world, but it's like, if you want to have a consistent high point scoring throughout it, like this was a game you need to find some success in, but we saw them try to disengage and they got caught off guard.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is you need to try and focus on so many things. So that's why I've got so much respect for these teams, because they are able to cope with all the pressures that come along with participating in these events. Yeah. So an absolutely big hat off to everyone. But what's also quite interesting to see is just how they are looking to approach these matches. Absolutely phenomenal stuff so far. And I'm excited to see, though, how they're going to try and apply themselves when we get back to Erangel, because now they've had their first Erangel, they had their first Sanhok, as well as Miramar, and now everything can kind of come together. So I cannot wait for this final match.
And the first Erangel was absolutely brilliant. So all of you guys watching at home, you best make sure you're back in just a few minutes when we come back with the final game of day 1 here for the PMCO Africa Full Split.
5, cool down to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
Oppo Reno 5, hold it to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.
We are back for one last time. 4 matches has been going out throughout today, and this is the last one. We're going back to Erangel, and we're ready to see what these teams can do and what they might have been able to learn from the first match going into this final one, because they've already played Erangel in the opening game. But I also want to remind you guys at home of something really cool that we've just found out as well. Is Nimo TV. NIMO TV, go and check them out, is the official media partner of PUBG Mobile Pro League in 2021. So make sure you go and check them out and show them some love, as we will continue to show you guys some love and some commentary across these games. As DK, Erangel this time, it was really explosive last time, but it was a little bit slow. You expect a bit of a change coming through?
Definitely. I mean, I'm pretty sure the teams are now warmed up and ready to roll and, ready to apply what they've learned in the previous first matches. And it's going to be something to watch because, looking back at our first match, we did see the players there from Blackjack finishing off strong over in that first spot with 15 kills, and Inference Rage coming into second with 13. But also, as we continued through the matches, we've actually had quite a bit of a back and forth as to which team is sitting up in pole position. We've had Gun come in with a winner chicken dinner. We had the players there from Rolla Insider come in with a chicken of their very own. So I'm curious to see if we're going to have one of those 3 teams bring in yet another chicken dinner, or could we potentially have another team stepping up to the plate?
That would be huge, right? If you can be on day one walking away with 2 chicken dinners, that'll help you skyrocket up there. Will make you have very high confidence going into the rest of the days, and you'll end your whole day feeling very good going into the rest of the competition. That's what these guys would certainly be wanting to see. But there's certainly some other potential teams that can put up a big fight. And I'm just going to come back to what we saw from Team Somalia there at the end on Miramar. They had 1 point in the opening 2 games, and then they go into Miramar and they managed to come at second place. Now, we're going to get ourselves soon into our last Erangel game. And when we're talking about this Erangel game, right, for me, the main thing I want to look at is how these teams will reposition themselves, because you're looking at the points here. This is the overall points we have for the group so far. And Blackjack Esports sit on the... Whoop, we're going for match ranking. Okay. There we go. Back to this is the one we want. This is with it all. Blackjack Esports at the top with 51. Then you got Gamers Unite Nations with 48. Already, these guys are a little bit further ahead. Rilla, obviously, they had the win, but they dropped down a little bit further now on 37. Influence Rage Africa, they started off really strong, but after that, it kind of slowed down from DK.
Yeah, it definitely did. But what I'm curious to see, though, is who could be the team to bounce back? Because even the players there from Ultima, they've also been bringing in a pretty strong performance. Drogons, as well as Team Somalia. I think those are definitely teams to watch, as they've shown a great bit of potential in our first 3 games. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen in this next one. And just looking at what we've got on the screen here, I mean, Gun sitting in that second position, they are actually leading the pack with the most consistent placement points, sitting on 33 in total.
Yeah, they've been playing the long game. And obviously that Sanhok game where they decided to hit the water a bit early on would have certainly helped boost that up for them. But that's the name of the game, right? If you can play it out, if you can even heal strat your way through it and find success and it puts you where you need to be, well, you can't take that away from it. It's all in the rules. It's all allowed and it's all fair to play with.
Yeah. I mean, what's also quite interesting is we can always look back at what we had in the first season to kind of try and get an idea of what we could expect to see in this season. But just looking at the first 3 matches we've had so far, I mean, that's almost completely out the door. The
Yeah.
teams have come stronger. They've grown so much, improved so much, and even the fresh teams coming in, really stepping up to the plate. They're really delivering. And I mean, it's still anyone's game as we move into our 4th match now.
Oh yes, the final match of day 1 here of our group stage is going to Erangel. And as always, we can be born to win as we welcome you to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much loved Renault 5 Series phone. And trust me, when you're looking at the 5 Series, that's what you want to be playing your PUBG mobile on. That's what you want to be owning up the lobby with, like our pro players are doing day in, day out. And obviously, the beauty of what we have in the PMCO, it's your gateway to be in the professional leagues, right? This is how you get there to play against some of the best teams in your region and then potentially the world if you can qualify that far. So it's all about showing your skills, playing the game we love, And for some people, you might just play it for fun. For some people, you could be like me and be old and you're definitely retired, which is why you talk about the games instead, and it's much safer for me. And then there could be other people watching who are like, I want to do that. I want to be a pro player. I want to be on the screens being talked about and showing people my skill. Well, this is the beauty of having an open circuit like this.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm glad to hear I'm not the only old one here. So, don't
PK,
feel
how
so
old are
alone.
you?
34.
Oh, now Max can be really bullied. This is perfect. There we go. Because Max is like a super baby in comparison to us. Like, I'm 31, you're 34. Max, I think he's like 23, 24. Maybe he's a bit older. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but he definitely got the young Zoomer mode compared to us boomers, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about boomers, I mean, that zone is definitely looking to be a little bit of a boomer. It's going to open it up for the team sitting very, very centralized on this map. And right out the gate, the players here from Aphelion Apex are going to be looking to get quite aggressive against the team here from MZR.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's a little 1v1 for now. Going to get some extra loot as he works his way up. Taking this fight, though, is going to be difficult. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's genius. But then he gets shot at in the back. Oh, the teammates were providing cover fire. No. That was such a smart move. And then you're just instantly punished. You can't be ready for it. You can't be aware for it. But now it's a race for whose team can get there close enough.
Well, there's our answer. MZR bringing in. Oh, but that was so beautiful to watch. I mean, that was an absolutely crazy play from both Blessin as well as Blood. But now, here comes the rush. Here comes the push. Oh, that off-angle play coming in, that coverage. And this is now where we could potentially see the players here from Apex looking to make a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, they want to fight back. They want to avenge their fallen teammate. But it's not going to be easy. Some nades pinned them ready. You saw there's already shots from the other players out towards the Aphelion Apex guys who are now sat in the compound. Oh, I like this. Sneaky. Gonna try and take a different approach to it. Different angle. Making sure he's also got the cover with it as well. Sicko pinned with the nade. Can he go sicko mode? Nade goes up. Not going to quite reach anyone. Blood's still chilling. Also got a nade pinned himself. Raining grenades all day long for these guys.
But we've got like a little gallery here as well. As we look over on towards hospital, we can see, some of the players there from the Aphelion Apex holding off in the distance. And now, I mean, Sicko and Stony just trying to get into this engagement. So I'm liking the support coming in from both these teams. We got Kage off in the distance there, providing that extra bit of spray, that extra bit of cover. But he needs to be careful because he's still right there alongside the two other remaining players from the MZR team.
Yeah, this is the problem. MZR obviously outnumber them by 1 anyway, but with how these splits are, it's less than ideal. And also, you've got to keep an eye on bullets and meds. This is the very early looting stage. So if it goes on too long, both teams will be in a bad way in trying to actually take this fight and take this engagement any further.
And it is going to be a pretty tough call. We can see a few more engagements coming in that kill feed, but this is where it's going to be. It could potentially be quite a golden player for the side of MZR, as we've seen, where they are positioned currently on that leaderboard. They're sitting in 10th place, only 7 points on the board. So whatever they can find, they would, be so happy with that. Even the side of Affiliate Apex, only on 13 points. So both these teams are in dire need of those points if they want to try and establish a decent foundation after this first day of gameplay. And I mean, so far they're definitely showing the skills, but do they now have the ability to close it up?
That's what it's all going to be about. It's just a waiting game for now. It's just so problematic for all of them to deal with because, if you're the one that makes the first attack, you're at a higher risk because you don't know where they are. As Sicko wants to be the one to push up, wait for the teammates come close to him. Oh, pre-fire through the smoke. No shot's going to be landed, just warning shots. But that's nice. He's keeping them back. He's making sure that he has a chance in this. Oh, the smoke starts to fade as well. If they push now, it could be very difficult. But his position will be known. You notice he hasn't really repositioned. He's still stayed in the exact same spot. I would prefer if he walked slightly more up the stairs. Something try to take a better vantage point. Oh, Stony trying to play the angle. Can't see him on the top part of the stairs. Now they're both there as well. Could just be going straight into a 2v2. MZR have the better overall position. Is not the ones to poke out, but the reactions, it wasn't quite there. Nicely done to start off with. Now it's a 2v1. He's got some meds. He does want to try and heal it up. Blood now getting the knock on though. Wants to go in for the finish off, but Sicko does not have much health. He cannot fight this. They're going to go in for the revive as well with the time not on their side. But Sicko, he can't push on this. There's no hope for it. He does not have much health. He's thinking about it. Time's ticking away. The revive may be there. Sicko's just out spraying, running and gunning. And no! From the sides, it starts to happen. And that was a long-range play from the teammates. 4 still alive here for MZR. And that is not what Affiliate Apex would have wanted. So much time wasted. Nothing achieved. Not even a kill.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it, though, to MZR. That was a really decent approach there from them. I mean, using those 2 players on the off angle to provide that long-range spray, it really just made it so difficult for Affiliate to get a strong footing in that compound. And, end of the day, well done, GG. The players there, of course, from MZR, looking quite satisfied with 3 kills on board. And now we move on. 15 teams remain. Still got 58 players left. That zone's still sitting pretty centralized. But already we see a few teams positioned in that more centralized region itself as well. We've got the players there from Team Somalia. We've got the players from Honored Soul, as well as the Drogons set up in and around the school area. And I'm curious to see, though, just where the teams are going to rotate. We still have a few teams on those outlying regions, especially the players positioned over in towards Nova Crates, the EXS team, the players there from Excusia. So, yeah, still quite a few regions that are open for the taking, but once the zone closes in, that's where they need to look for those rotational paths once again, and I'm curious to see, though, just what that's going to bring.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we need to keep an eye on, but already very different in how the first Erangel panned out. We kept 16 players alive, until phase 4, nearly 5? Yeah, and now first phase, already little battle going on. They tried to spend the time and fight it all out. Inspector's now going to spot gun. He's not going to take the shots, but he's just going to get the extra... Okay, his teammates took the shot, so maybe he just passed the information over to it. But they're keeping an eye on the prize and looking at where these teams are going and what they might be trying to do. But it's going to be a lot about the rotations, at least for now.
And there's still quite a lot of space to take up. I mean, even over here in towards Ferry Pier, the players from Mexix, they can comfortably move in. Mezexis, sorry. I'm struggling to read today. But yeah, I mean, they could quite comfortably move in. It's completely uncontested. Even over towards that western bridge, there's no threat there whatsoever. So as the zone is about to shift on up, if it moves down to the south, it could completely turn around. Then they will need to look to try and strengthen that hold. But as we wait in anticipation to see what that zone's going to do, it centers up so beautifully. And a lot of the teams already in really decent positions.
Yeah, this isn't long rotations or even that difficult rotations coming in. If you're one of the teams that may be later into it, then it can be slightly problematic. But for EXS right now, we already know from the first Erangel, they're very happy to go on a slower rotation. Well, now they can just really take their time. They're under no pressure at all. They know they're very close to it. And last time around, the circle's a lot more difficult for them to deal with.
Well, yeah, positioning is always crucial and essential. And I mean, oh, just looking at these rotational paths, I'm expecting this phase to bring quite a bit of chaos alongside it. The north is getting quite heavily congested as we've got the players there from Zero Tolerance, 21st Century, we've got Influence Rage, we've got Blackjack, we've got the Drogons, we've got Honored Souls. So many potential points of contention that could come from this gun. Also now approaching that zone. The players here from Guerrilla Insider, all the way over on towards that far western side, just hovering in and around the edge of the zone. Influence Rage also making their way on through, but heading a little bit further up on towards the north. So again, there's so much potential to come in from here. I'm curious to see where the teams are going to decide to start these fights.
Yeah, who's going to be the first one to pop it off? That's going to be the main thing. Exusia now just starting their rotation across the bridge. No one to contest it. No one even close. No one by Milton. No one by Farm. So they have so much room to work with. And they can stay down towards this south kind of eastern side. Potentially meet Gun depending on the rotation from there. As we're going to see some shots exchanged by Influence Rage Africa and the Blackjack Esports team. And Blackjack Esports, right? They're living the dream right now. This so far the opening matches for them has been so solid.
Yeah, really strong performances coming in. And now, I mean, Influence Rage, also one of those teams really in the running for a strong finish in the group stage overall. As we did see them doing quite an exceptional job in Season 1. But will they be able to bring it back once again? Oh, the shots trying to find their way on through. Vindex just taunting Vile ever so slightly there. But again, players from Influence Rage holding on to those ridge lines. Vindex just tempting fate here with his Kar 98. And I mean, we've seen that Kar 98. It is absolutely brutal if used in the right hands. And maybe Vindex is one of those. He's been putting in some pretty decent shots.
He really has. And that's what it's going to be key about. I think some of those shots, especially long distance shots where you can keep him at bay, keep him away, is going to be vital. And the Drogons are looking down on some of the Team Somalia players. Unsure if they are actually aware of the position just there. Well, obviously, we saw MZR earlier. They'd found their early success, found 3 kills, and got themselves a whole team eliminated from it. Actually, how does that work? It said they had 3 points. And did they not get all the kills out of that one? I just saw the point thing on the side and was like, they have 3, but they should have 4.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe someone just went up in smoke. They just, spontaneously combusted or something happened,
Stick the landing. Bomb. Game over. Central. Very fair circle for our final Erangel game. The Drogons just go, oh, this is perfect. We forever will have this little potato hill.
Yeah, but what I like about this very passive zone closure that we have is it really allows the teams to go out to get aggressive and bring in that play, because now it's not being delivered to them. If they want it, they need to go get it. They need to work for that, and that is kind of what makes this so exciting to watch.
Definitely is. You need to be careful from here. Like, I'm not against what Exist is trying to do here. But I also want him to be aware that, like, anyone can come over that hill. He'll be out in the open, It's very hard to get down from there if you're under fire and they land some nice shots. So just be cautious. There are teams around. There are teams that will look at you. Nerf me. This was a player me and Max looked at in the first Africa region we covered last season for the spring split, and this guy on an individual level on like hitting shots was ridiculously nutty. So whenever I see him, especially when he's got a mini 14 in his hand, we know what that man can do. We know how things can just pop off at any point. It does get me excited already, and I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for one of these. Like, we've had like some really nice parts of the game so far, but we've not seen like one player individually pop off on a massive level just yet. I can't wait for it to go down.
Yeah, I mean, they just building up to that. They're just trying to, just weigh it out, trying to see where they are. And I agree with you. I mean, nerf me. That guy's nutty AF at times when it comes to, the moves that he pulls off. So definitely looking forward to some nutty plays coming in. But for the time being, it's a fairly passive zone. I mean, again, the
Yeah.
team's just trying to hold the positions. Again, not looking to overexpose themselves just yet. They don't want to do anything foolish.
And there's no need like this, right? When you've got such an easy circle, I say easy circle, like a comfortable circle for people. It's not hard to rotate in. There's plenty of space in it. You know, it stayed very central. There's not had any crazy hard rotations for anyone. Even the guys coming down from the north had a relatively good way in. You look at Gun, who have now come in just up towards the north of Farm, and they find themselves pretty good. Only EXS are just getting close to them now. Potential fight that could be on the cards there. But it's gone back to the Erangel we found in the first game for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, Potato Hill has at times been such a strong point to hold, but now on towards the southwestern side. I mean, Guerrilla Insiders here looking to send some beautiful grenades in as Blood and IBX gets picked right on up. Zeke sends up yet another one. Will that be the one to close it out? Oh, picks up a nice kill alongside that, but a beautiful play here from Zeke. I mean, copy paste. Wow.
Oh, Clutch, he's got to be really worried, and eventually will go down. He just can't escape. There's too many going forward. Turpis is like, maybe I should just avoid this now. Maybe I should just get the hell out of here and try and play the long game. I wouldn't be wanting to stick around in that at all.
That is a... Yeah, I would have also have liked to potentially see that disengage come through, but now... Oh!
He's going straight for it. All guns blazing. Turpis under pressure. Will find himself getting one knocked down. Can he do any more damage? Tries to fire out. Oh, he's getting two. He goes in for the finish off. This could be problematic for him. Turpis, solo man now. Trip, under pressure. Is he really going to... Don't go for the revives. Go for the kill. Go for the hunt. Oh! No way! We said we needed this individual brilliance come through from a player today. And Turpis, you absolute hero. Your team may be dead around you, but you just netted them 4 kills. Extra points, and you pulled it off solo. Big mistakes were just made there for Rilla.
Yeah, I mean, Turpis did that on purpose. It was beautifully executed, and I mean, even a little bit of a celebratory air punching coming in at the end there, all very, very well deserved. But now, yes, we can see the zone is still looking pretty hot. Blackjack now feeling the pressure as they are going toe-to-toe with Influence Rage. Zane and Vile pretty low on health. Zane, of course, now already knocked on down, but Wisco sends a beautiful one and finds Index as well as Inspector. But now will Hainsley and Sully be able to close this one out? Trying to quickly disengage. We do see the Drogons just moving over onto a more western position here, but up comes Zane. Looking to rush on through. Oh, the rest of the team not looking too great. Hainsley still up ahead, trying to get that res on through. Sully now just hugging the edge of the rock here. Will he be able to clutch it out? The spray comes in, the grenade gets sent over. Sully flies up the rock and down he goes. Now, this is that point where we could see Blackjack actually just swooping in, but meanwhile, Hainsley just capitalizing on this position. Wow.
What? Vindex? Why did he jump out?
I don't know.
Vindex is taking a big risk. Oh no, Hansley. Not much health. Plenty of bullets coming out through him. Smoke may be down, but it only provides limited cover. They're just going to take shots through it. He could find himself really being ripped apart. Satan just punches Sully to add insult to injury. Poor Sully, by the way, rolled up on that rock, went up high, and then the moment he popped, he was like, uh-oh. Mistakes were made. You know, as you do something and you realize this was a bad idea, that was the moment he had, and them few seconds took ages in his life.
That's where the voiceover comes in. Is it like it was at this moment he realized that he severely messed up. Well, I can't use the other words, the proper words, but you know what I'm trying to get at. But of course, now the players here from Gun holding on to the compound over here in the south, though. I mean, Ray's clan, yes, it's looking a little bit better. They've been able to survive a little while longer. 1 kill on board. They are in that top 13, but now, will they be able to make a stand against the side of Gun? As we can see that zone popping all the way up again over on towards the eastern edge. And I mean, this could potentially be quite the match between the Drogons, the players there from EXS, as well as, in fact, the team of Unique. But here we go. Gun getting ready to move, closing out Rays. fairly easy push coming in there from them. And I'd really hope to see a stronger performance come back from the players there of Race Clan.
Now, when it comes to what we've just seen over these last couple of moments, it's interesting rotations. EXS, right, managed to actually get past Gun, who were ahead of them just a couple of circles ago. And they now find themselves right down towards the southwestern side, coming in from the east of where the current circle sits. Gun still now fighting down here in the south and have to work their way in, but looking to try and deal with 21st for now. Very fair point distribution so far as well. It's only MZR that's ahead with 8 right now. Dun's picking up all the kills. More teams are starting to fall. We're at the 20-minute mark. The Influence Rage Africa. Oh, they had a second place on the first. Erangel now find themselves going down in 12th place.
Oh, what?
Carnage. Absolute carnage.
Wow, that was a beautiful jump shot, though. I mean, credit where it's due. That was just absolutely amazing. But now, here we go. Gun looking to push in once again, coming up onto that southern edge, right up against them. We do see the players here from Excusia. Pretty good spread coming in. Zelcro holding that off angle. Zelgard and Go now just trying to get down into the bushes, trying to wait. But Gun still making their way on through, holding strong. Looking to set up a bit of an anchor point in the southern edge of the zone. But I'm curious to see, though, just what the teams are going to be doing, because we got a nice split. We've got teams positioned in the north, we've got teams positioned in the south, and both sides are actually taking these fights.
Easy pick off for Pounds there. No problem at all on that one. Ultima, who you mentioned earlier, they will be going out. Not super early, but not in the time they would like it to be. Drogon's now under pressure from Blackjack Esports, actually. And remember, the Drogons have been trying to hold on to Potato Hill for as long as possible. Pounds finds himself, flames at his feet, burning alive, tries to pop the birthday kit, getting the smoke a bit as well. Exusia trying to fight everyone around them. It's 21st century that are just there up in front of them. But they've got to be careful, because if they expose themselves too far, there's other teams who are on the hill who can shoot down on top of them. So dealing with 21st century and getting them eliminated now was absolutely key.
Oh man, some pretty insane carnage now coming into the south, but here we go. Exusia now just looking to get a little bit of an advance in anticipation of that zone shift that, as we can see, it has moved all the way back over to the east once again. So this is where Blackjack finds themselves in a beautiful, beautiful position. Usually that's the kind of play we see come out from the Gun team. They are usually pretty decently set up within these zones. Now, all the way down over on towards that southwestern side, looking to apply the pressure over towards Exusia. But now, will they be able to get it done, though? Skya just on the edge of the smoke. Plaza sends it in, picks up the knock. But now they should use this opportunity to reposition back into zone up in the north. The Drogons are just so brutal onto the Honored Souls. As we can see Dark Ghost being the last remaining hopeful. Will he be able to get it done, though? Drogons also reduced down to only 2 remaining players now.
8 teams, 23 alive. Numbers are dwindling. And teams are fighting for the very limited spaces. There are not many teams within the circle right now. Just a few players, as it be. Honored Souls Africa find themselves going down in 7th place. Drogons have stabilized a little bit, just keeping 2 alive. MZR, despite getting many kills to start off with, will now be the next to fall. And Zelgod, well, he's not done yet. He's picking up the pieces around him, but he's now going to have to try and get his teammates back up. And they've got quite a way to the circle. Now, they do have the vehicle, but having 2 revives needs to pull off is going to be oh so difficult. He may not even... Yeah, he's just gone for it. He's going to leave him. Doesn't even want to try get it. It's coming in too quick for him. Probably a smart decision at the end of the day. Look how many shots are coming out. He's just running through the smoke, hoping that he might be able to stay a bit longer. Somalia under pressure. Nicely done by Hawks and them, but he's instantly finished off afterwards. And Somalia will at least keep 2 alive. 1, the beast, is knocked down and on the floor in front of him. Exusia have gone down, as we just saw. Gunner still in a good position with 4 up. The Drogons are coming down the hill, but they're limited on numbers, only 2 alive. And Blackjack Esports, I believe they've got 3 up there towards the northeast. And they'll be able to walk on down and fire onto many of the teams. But it's Gun, who may not have the most kills right now. But they're still up and still in a good spot.
Yeah, they can still cause quite a bit of harm from that position. As we can see now, quite a bit of fire coming their way as the players here from Blackjack looking to suppress that potential threat coming in from Gun. And now, I mean, this is one of the best moments to try and do that, as we can still see the zone is about to close in. And before that zone shifts, they need to try and bring in that play. JR there from the Drogons also just holding on for dear life. But up comes the grenades from Plaza. Going to be looking to close it up. It's going to be close.
Ooh.
Will it find the spot? Oh, finds a little bit of damage, but a nice molly in response coming through there from JR. Stole it back and forth coming in between Blackjack and Gun.
Plaza goes from one target, tries to finish off JR, it doesn't work, goes on to a next, while Pounds is now taking on the Somalians. Look how far that nade was. That was deep.
Yeah, that was brutally... Wow!
Plaza's hitting shots, man. He's ready to fight. He's got the rock for cover. He's got the confidence as well. He's still aware of JR's position as well. Revive's going to come on through, but damage has been done. Gun still with 4 players. Everyone else dwindling on numbers. And Trogan's JR just doesn't want to move, doesn't want to make any noise, and hopes no one's going to fire some more nades at him. Team Somalia down at the very bottom. More nades going out towards them.
I mean, this is looking pretty crazy, though. I mean, Gun just slowly but surely trying to push their way back up in it towards that zone. Up comes that quick rotation. Everyone now moving up collectively. And wild. Oh, come on. It's so close. Plaza again with the aggression, though. I mean, the players here from Blackjack reduced essentially down to only Vile. Cooking up that grenade, trying to send it over on towards Plaza. Will it be the one? Will he find that opening? But he needs to be so careful because Kingerman and Hanad are also moving in. Oh!
Timing. Blackjack Esports, they go down in 4th. Gun still with 3 players. Plaza hiding behind the rock, but he's on the floor. JR, he now finally gets some revenge. He had all the nades and stuff fired out towards him, but instantly his teammates get the revenge in it. And now, once again, a top 2 placement here for Team Somalia. This is huge. These guys, doesn't matter what numbers they have, they're still willing to fight, and they're willing to fight smart, and they could potentially take this win away. This is much more doable here.
I mean, absolutely insane plays coming in from the players of Team Somalia. I mean, this is just so crazy. Looking at it, it looks like the odds were stacked against them. But now as they make it into this final zone, it is down to Pounds to try and hold on. But here comes the spray. Team Somalia steps up and claims the winner chicken dinner.
It was looking like Gun was going to give you what you wanted, DK. And not just get 2 chicken dinners in a day, but back-to-back chicken dinners. But instead, this time, Team Somalia said, the numbers are more even, we'll be able to fight back, and they took the win. Team Somalia, these last 2 games, you boys have impressed me to no end. Fantastic work from these guys. They don't care if numbers are against them. They don't care if the odds are stacked against them. They still have a plan, and they try to execute. Very smart play. I'm not sure who's like leading the charge or the in-game leader for the team, but whoever's calling out what's going to be happening there, just give yourself a pat on the back, man.
Yeah, I mean, that has been an absolute beautiful turnaround coming in from Team Somalia, as you pointed out. These last two matches for them, just so on point and really impressive plays coming from them. I mean, if this is still just the start, I'm so curious to see what the rest of this week has in store for us then.
Yeah, this was a brilliant opening to our first day here for the PUBG Mobile Club Open, full split for the Africa region, because we already knew it was going to get crazy when we saw how many new teams were arriving. But my, oh my, everyone's come here to play. This has been chicken dinners for 4 different teams to open up the day as well. There's a few teams that have certainly struggled, but it is day 1. Some jitters in there, some nerves for sure. But we've already been blessed. And I got to say, the Trippers came through and pulled off something that I didn't think was possible. I screamed like a little girl because you thought he was just going to die. You thought he was just going to get run over, and he pulls off a 1v3.
I mean, that was absolutely insane plays. And I mean, that just shows the level of confidence coming in there from the players of Team Somalia. I mean, yeah, as you pointed out, the first 2 games, a little bit shaky. The nerves just coming into play there. But just looking at how they've been able to kind of recollect themselves, just come back a little bit stronger in that 3rd match. Phenomenal performance, and looking to see only better from this point forward.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. I'm excited to see what our standings are going to look like once we get all the scores come through, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be really wild to see how Somalia has jumped up just in those 2 games. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, getting 2 second places isn't bad at all. Then to still walk away with the chicken dinner like that, playing it so well at the end. And Gun were fighting from start to finish and had high ground with the 2 players they had left. But Somalia, they sat down in the bottom, right down the south. They dealt with Blackjack Esports players. They then dealt with Gun. Plaza, he finally got revenge against that guy as well. It's like really smart plays. And it doesn't just come to me as like they got lucky with some aim plays. It was brain behind it as well.
Yeah. I mean, as you pointed out there, so Team Somalia, they came in the first match, finishing in dead last position.
Yep.
Coming into the second match, they finished up in 14th. Then as we moved into that third match, they already brought in a considerable performance and finishing off so strong in this last match, all the way up there, all the way into 4th place on the leaderboard. Wow.
In 2 games, they had 1 point, and now they sit with 45 across, or say 44 they got in 2 games. That is a big turnaround. A lot of placement points in there and a good amount of kill points as well. They're just 1 point away from the Drogons. That is not a bad way to end your opening day. And now you get to sit back and relax as C and D will play tomorrow, and you can watch it all go down. Games Unite Nations still sit now in a position where they got 69 points. Very solid from them. Blackjack Esports probably would have hoped for a little bit more on that last Erangel game, but they can still be very impressed.
Yeah, definitely a great performance coming in. But I got to point out, though, the Dragons just also surprising me. That is a very, very pleasant surprise to see coming in from them. Finishing off day one pretty strong there on 46 points. And then, of course, that performance from Team Somalia on the lovely, lovely 45 points. And moving on to the second page, this is where we get to see, which teams need to try and look at what they can improve coming in to the remaining matches they still have in store.
Yeah, like Ray's Clan, I'm not pointing you out for any reason, but obviously you just have 2 points. So for me, when you look at a team like that, you go back to the drawing board, you review your VODs, you think of what we can do differently, maybe what engagements we took that were wrong, and kind of reinvent yourself and readapt a little bit from there. For Honored Souls Africa, we saw a few okay players come out from them, the same for even Team Unique and Affiliate Apex, but today just wasn't the day that comes in there. But this is still all to play for, right? This is only day one. You've got, what is it? Let's do maths. My brain's not working.
Two more for each group to go.
2 more for each. There we go. 2 more for each group to go. So plenty for these guys to still get done with. But it's like on your next day of gameplay, it has to be your absolute A team, right? You have to be able to hit a different level, and you need to be watching what C and D do, because obviously tomorrow when these games are going on, you need to do some research on them and see where they go, because they might try and contest you in some ways.
Yeah, and it's gonna be absolutely essential for the teams to try and do their homework, do that research, and see how they can improve on that. And of course, as we move on to the next page of the leaderboard, there's nothing there because the teams haven't played just yet. So these are the teams that we're going to be seeing tomorrow. So that is Young Thunder, G3 Temper, Team Lag, Seven Sins, Art of Killing, with the players there from our Rage. We got the Tropa team in there as well. We got Team IQ, and then of course Ultima Force. Now that's just one half of it. We still have the players from Group D coming in, which is of course the players here from KHK Esports, C Esports, the ATL Magicians, the Era Crew, Liquid Demons, Diamonds. Wow, I need to read. Immortals, the Experts, and then of course Fainted Africa, AF.
Oh, yes. Plenty of teams to show us their skills coming into tomorrow. But we are done for day one. It's already gone by so fast here, DK. I'm just going to remember Turpus's clutch so well. That was a highlight moment for me. We saw some really cool plays as well, some great individual plays that came out in the end. And I think it's only going to get better from here, mate.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely insane. And actually, the viewers can clip that on YouTube. There is the option to clip it. So if you can rewind to that, clip it. I mean, that was insane stuff to do. But yeah, absolutely beautiful day. Phenomenal showing coming in from Group A and Group B, and really looking forward to seeing what Group C and Group D will bring to the table tomorrow.
Well, just to remind everyone at home as well, if you want to be born to win, we have been luckily to have the PMCO Africa full split is being brought to you by Oppo, so you can get your gamer mode on with the much loved Renault 5 series. But we are be closing the show here and now. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you're back tomorrow the same time to catch C and D and see how many points these guys can get. You never know. They might be able to jump up even above all the teams we saw play today, or maybe it'll even out more. Maybe it's more competitive in the sense that they'll share the points a bit more. We'll have to wait and see how it all goes down. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Rena 5. Cool down to win.
Oppo Reno 5, PUBG Mobile MENA Esports official designated smartphone.